we're going to be watching the Sondsol v ReDNeQ debate. I've had a chance to watch it twice. Like once in like live, and the other time then the other time just like after all of that settled down, just so I have like a general idea of what's going on. But yeah, I'm gonna try and give my best like critiques of it. I'll be in like a quiet tone because I gotta be a little quiet. But yeah, like let's get into it. Nothing much really. Besides just reviewing this. That's good. Okay. Good intro, by the way.
I'm baiting. Yeah, I'm shamelessly baiting. I've talked to him off stream about his like fucking cringy fucking transphobic takes. I tried to like have a reasonable conversation with him off stream, right? And I just like had a little heart to heart with him, right? I said, you might not change your like mind immediately, but I do hope that you like go forward with the kind of like knowledge that like like your language hurts people and you have to like internalize the things that you're saying and think about how it affects other people and what the implications are when you're like when this is a like group that is like largely disenfranchised, right? And literally the next day he goes on to fucking Dylan Burns and just starts saying the exact same shit, the exact same bullshit over and over and over. God damn.
So my first thing would be, yeah, people tend to like even if they hear like a valid argument like against what they're saying, most people are gonna remain consistent on at least their argument. Like I don't. Some people do. I'd give like more charitability to others who are willing to like read up and listen to it. But what I've heard with ReDNeQ and my interactions with him, um, he's not the kind of person who would necessarily change his position based on available evidence. Which I mean, older people tend to be a bit more like hard and steady in their beliefs, which in of itself can be harmful if you're like advocating for like policies that are like changing like fundamentally like the systems that you have right now or anything. But generally we tend to see that case. So it could be harmful in terms of like diversifying like policy in terms of making the Overton window any bigger or shifting it. But that's my sort of idea of it. But I don't think it's necessarily something that's intrinsically bad.
Dude. Oh, he's in Discord? Fuck yeah, let's fucking go,
And then
ReDNeQ.
here's the bait.
How's it going, my guy?
What the fuck are you talking about tonight? What is it that
I'm
comparing? You're literally comparing. You are literally fucking trying to claim that Antifa is just a spontaneous fucking reaction to vandalism. That's what you basically said.
Yeah, do you think that people like
Are you fucking kidding
Hold
me?
on.
Generally, from like what I've heard about like anti-fascists in general, they tend to appear at protests in terms of like supporting like one side like for civil rights, because typically anti-fascists are kind of against like the oppression of other folk, at least in what my experience is. But yeah, no, like there, that's not really a flattering angle for him. But I typically don't see like anti-fascists just protesting. Like they just do shit on their own, like burn shit down on their own for the most part. They're not the kind of people that will just stir shit up. Maybe they'll attack public buildings, but there is not really like anti-fascists that are just like that I would say that are just burning down buildings or anything. for the shits and giggles of it or for the sake of opportunism.
Hold on, buddy. Listen,
At least
do you think
often.
that there was like Antifa like sitting down and like drawing out plans? We're gonna burn this business, this business, this business, or do you think that when? Hold on. Let me hold on, hey, buddy. I don't deny Antifa's existence.
Bullshit! Your fucking tweet said so.
Hold on.
I really should have gone over the tweets.
Wait, hold the fuck up.
In fact, let's do that right now. We could probably look at that real quick. Give me like 1 second. For one, I need to fix that. There we go, that's a little bit better. But I'm gonna do the intermission tab real quick just so I can look up these tweets real quick. Twitter. And we should probably go like to the specific spat that was going on. I could probably just go through ReDNeQ's Twitter real quick. We probably need to go to like December 14th or something when this happened. But nope. December 15th. December 16th. This is probably something about that. Alright, this looks like it. Nope. Crap. I can move it back to this screen now, but because I don't think he's doing anything that's overtly bad. Alright, this is one of the retweeted that. POTUS implied. POTUS. Am I just like really bad at finding the tweets that are specific to this conversation? Okay, this is getting close. We're getting there. Yep, this is it. December 15th. Right here. Wait, I could just fucking go back to... I should just go back to the specific... We're at 155. And... we'll just go back to it. I should have really pulled up these when I was thinking about it. It's okay for BLM to... This was on December 13th. Ooh. This is December 13th, so I need to go all the way back to then. ReDNeQ talks a lot of dumb shit. I'm waiting. Where's it at? Where's it at? And hey, we're at December 13th now. So now we just gotta find the tweet. Unless I just like completely missed it. Unless it's in replies, and that might be dumb. Oh, that's me tweeting at him. Left is done, lost it. Young people need to breathe, breathe, breathe. Got her. Note to self, plan this out a bit better. I'll just go back. Let's go back to Sondsol. I think he's got less tweets to look into. Da 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 do da da do da 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 do ba da dee dum ba da da dee dum ba da doo dee dee doom da 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 dee dum ba ba dee doom ba dee dee doo doo it is shoo ba dee doo bop ba da dee doo. This ain't it. Nope. Maybe I have to go into replies. This is what I get for not doing this prior. Oh, it should be December 16th. It happened earlier. Nope, nope, nope. We're almost there. We're at December 16th. Still the debate. So we have to go back to the 14th, maybe? I should have remembered this because I was here for that. But, yeah, December 15th was when it happened. Bingo. There we go. So this is probably one of the few things that start off. You realize there's a huge contextual difference between random acts of vandalism and a massive spontaneous protest and people swarming DC because of a conspiracy and black churches and all that. So Twitter is not necessarily the best place for discourse, in my opinion. You don't get a lot of nuance. But 93% of the BLM protests have, at least to our knowledge, have been peaceful. 7% being the riots. And personally, I'm not a fan of the riots themselves. Mainly when it targets private property, because usually that's kind of people's livelihood. But like public property that's funded by taxes, I think it's you could argue that it's a bit better to argue from that standpoint, because taxpayers pay for it, and it's not necessarily like just destroying like one specific person or like small group of people's livelihood, because at the end of the day they still get a government paycheck. And then we got the dumb shit live tweet. And then Sonsol's kind of baiting him right here, which I'm all for a good blood sports type debate. And what else? I know there's something else that God, yeah, no. I think that's what started off, something like that. Yeah, that had to have been what started this. So, moving back into this debate.
What the fuck are you talking about tonight? What is it that you're comparing? You're literally comparing. You are literally fucking trying to claim that Antifa is just a spontaneous fucking reaction to vandalism.
A1 with the editing.
That's what you basically said.
Yeah, do you think that people like
sat... Are you fucking kidding
Hold on, buddy. Listen, do you think that there was like Antifa like sitting down and like drawing out plans? We're gonna burn this business, this business, this business.
Sondsol,
or do you think that when hold on. Let me hold on, buddy. I don't deny Antifa's existence.
Bullshit! You're fucking trying to say
he never denied Antifa's existence.
Hold on. I have to read the tweet. Wait.
And as far as we know, the existence of anti-fascists, otherwise known as ANTIFA, ANTIFA is like it's a shortened name for anti-fascists. They do exist. There are people who call themselves ANTIFA, meaning that they're anti-fascist. There are in fact groups of people that are known are like the ANTIFA, like they're like localized groups. They're decentralized, but there's no organization of ANTIFA, meaning there's no like big head honcho nationwide to talk about or to like look up to, I guess, in terms of the hierarchical structure. There aren't like specific chapters that people subscribe to. There isn't like a fee system. There isn't like a specific uniform that's been mandated. But rather, it's typically like a loose collection of localized folk, like either like get together in a group chat and like talk about, oh, we need to go to this protest as a sort of, I guess, for lack of a better term, a strong arm of the, I guess, of a protest. But the purpose of anti-fascists are not to like stir shit up. It's more or less to protect the protesters from any interlocutors that might go up against them. Whereas with the Proud Boys, it's not really. They tend to like want to stir shit up as opposed to like defending their cause and sort of thing. And especially when you have them going to civil rights protests, you don't they and you're counter protesting them. It just looks really bad on your end because it looks like you're not trying to solve a problem that clearly exists. It looks like you want to be like contrarians. You just want to like fuck shit up and oppose them for the sake of putting them in their place, which I'm against. And that's what I feel distinguishes these two organizations. But what's going to happen throughout this debate is going to be a sort of argument on whether or not like the Proud Boys and Antifa / BLM are like one and the same. Are they just like two groups warring at each other, or do they or is there a bit more like nuance into it?
The fuck up. What in my tweet denied the existence of fucking Antifa?
There's no tweets that we looked at that.
There's a huge contextual difference between random acts of vandalism and a massive spontaneous protest and people swarming DC because they believe in a conspiracy.
And the argument was between Antifa and BLM. Correct?
Yeah. And where in my tweet does it imply that Antifa doesn't exist?
The conversation that Rob said to Dylan, right? Okay. He mentioned both BLM and Antifa.
Okay.
Right? And your response to Rob's comment, because he said, remember when BLM...
Top tip, George Soros. I think we got a little bit of signaling going on.
And Antifa were vandalizing and destroying property all over the country. Did you speak up? And you replied with, you do realize there's a huge contextual difference between random acts of vandalism and a massive spontaneous protest and people swarming D.C. because they believe in a conspiracy targeting black churches. So you're saying the conspiracy being the elections. All that fucking shit we've had happen, mostly in Portland, but then it's also spread itself to some other major cities, are random acts of vandalism. Yet those protests were actually planned and the violence new. And
here's one massive thing I really don't like about ReDNeQ, and that's he will strawman a position out of like the left trademark, and I think that's incredibly harmful to discourse because immediately, like right here, minute 3, you're not gonna come off as the most charitable person necessarily, and you're just setting yourself up to get dunked on, really. In like the short term of it, you're just gonna get fucked immediately right out the bat. And yes, protests themselves can be planned, and they often are to some extent, but there's not really a degree, which we've observed where there are like groups of people who are just trying to stir shit for to like loot or like riot, like at least destroying private property. Now, if you have like statues and public property, that's a bit of a different thing. But we don't have like people just burning down cities for the shits and giggles of it, and we don't see burning cities at all, really. We just see like a few blocks at a time, maybe, that are burned.
The cops wouldn't have showed up at night to those protests or the same night of those protests if they didn't think vandalism was coming.
Really quick, I need you to understand. What you're implying is that they sat down, drew out battle plans, decided which businesses to fucking burn, where they were going to burn them, why they were going to burn them. Like it was a premeditated thing. Instead of when George Floyd died, and there were people that went out and protested it, and it escalated. The situation escalated and escalated and escalated until a fucking Target was burned down. Do you really think that was a concerted plot by the Black Lives Matter movement, or do you think that it was a spontaneous fucking protest?
You're saying every fucking protest has been spontaneous. You full of shit.
No.
Okay, so here's where I would probably criticize Sondsol here for his poor phrasing of the events here. If I can go back.
Why they were going to burn them. Like it was a premeditated thing. Instead of when George Floyd died and there were people that went out and protested it, and it escalated, like the situation escalated and escalated and escalated until a fucking Target was burned down. Do you really think that that was a concerted plot by the Black Lives Matter movement? Or do you think that it was a spontaneous fucking protest?
You're saying every...
Well, I guess like my only critique would be event within the protest, not necessarily the protest itself. The protest itself was probably for the most part spontaneous. People like got really pissed about it. And same with the like rioting event as well. I'd also say that it was a spontaneous event, probably caused by a lot of aggravation, as far as I know. Most of the riots that happen are caused by like outside aggression by either police or like outside interlocutors, like a third party, such as the Proud Boys.
Fucking protest has been spontaneous. You full of shit.
No, absolutely. Are you kidding me? And also, do you not understand that like 93% of all of the protests in the country were fucking peaceful protests? Like literally, like you are going by the numbers. No, this is a fucking study. No, hold on. No, I'm not being disingenuous at all. This is something.
Being disingenuous means that you're providing data and not responding to the straw man argument. Good job, ReDNeQ. You're doing a good service to discourse by straw manning here. Like no one's gonna argue that every protest was spontaneous. Like maybe like the initial backlash with things like Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd, and the other people that can't really remember right now that happened a few years ago that started a lot of these, the Ferguson thing, George Zimmerman, and God, what was that kid's name? Trayvon Martin. Like that was the big event that started BLM. Like Trayvon Martin's killing was the big catalyst for BLM to rise up initially. And I'm about 95% sure that the initial protests are mostly spontaneous. Like people see this event and they get out on the streets. And then eventually you have like protests that are a bit more organized, as you have like a base of support to draw from. And then you have people that are speaking at the events, like these like officially like BLM sponsored events. And that's where you have like the planned out protests. But typically like the first maybe 1, 2, 3 days maybe after like a major event, you will have mostly spontaneous protesting.
that irritates the absolute
riots
fuck
to
out of
that
me.
extent.
This narrative that there are cities burning the fuck down when there's like a couple like $1 billion over the entire country and in the most like large.
just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Will you let me finish? Hold on. Let me finish my goddamn statement. Let me finish my goddamn statement. So over the entire country, over the largest civil rights movement in our country's history, there's.
And as an aside, personally, I would have probably had like a moderator between the two of them, because throughout this whole thing, it's just going to be a complete shouting match, and it's not going to be productive dialogue for the most part. It's just going to be like tit for tat, like dunking at this point.
There's a couple of $1 billion, like less than $10 billion, but I might be wrong on the exact number. A couple $1 billion of damages over the entire country when there was like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out on the streets, where 93% of the protests were peaceful protests with no instances of violence.
Yep.
Do you not understand
That's what they
why there are
analyzed.
some... Yeah?
No, what you're fucking trying to backtrack on is the bullshit that you fucking spewed. You're claiming that Antifa don't fucking exist.
I never said that!
So another thing that I don't like about ReDNeQ is that he will retreat to straw men after he's like debunked on this. He will just retreat back to a straw man argument when he gets debunked on one argument. And you're going to see him like repeatedly retreat back to these previous arguments. Actually, I should really shouldn't be talking about that. I'm going to be poisoning the well here, but right here, I just really don't like it when people backtrack to a straw man argument that no one will either defend nor like humor to the light of like at all. And so I just think it's a disingenuous debate tactic from ReDNeQ.
They're not an organization, and they don't do any bullshit. That's bullshit.
Literally, there's nothing in my tweet to imply that.
Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Literally nothing in my tweet. I didn't even mention. I didn't mention Antifa.
We looked at the tweets.
I didn't mention Antifa. I said there's a contextual difference between one of the
That's different than acknowledging its existence.
The vandalism in one sense where it's not targeting a specific group, and the fucking PBs going out to fucking black churches, which has been a historic way for white supremacists to intimidate black people from doing anything to fight for their civil rights. I went through the entire Wikipedia article on this where it shows all of the instances of white people or yeah, look at this.
White people. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, white supremacists, yes.
That's all that exists.
Yeah, probably poor phrasing on Sonsol's part, saying like, "Oh, white people," because then ReDNeQ gets to set up this whole like racist thing, which he'll just like continue to imply that the whole white liberal shit, which isn't. He won't even use it in like the correct context. He's just gonna spew white liberal racist and then think he won an argument based off of that, but. Again, poisoning the well.
Just in the Peanut Butter Boys, right? Is that what you're saying?
No,
because I don't.
Peanut Butter Boys.
I was you are fucking you are projecting a position on me that I don't hold.
No,
you're projecting a position.
He rightfully calls him out on this position. Sondsol rightfully calls out ReDNeQ's like continual strawmans right here, which doesn't really solve anything, but. It's a good thing to note. I think that's always good, calling your interlocutor out and being bad faith.
No, you're projecting. Because I literally, 5 minutes before you came on, I said that they are not necessarily white supremacists. I said they are generalized hate group.
Meme, and you told me to come on here and say it to you, and I'm fucking telling you, you're full of shit, Sondsol.
No, you're full of shit. You are putting positions on me.
Yeah, this would have probably needed a moderator, I think. But again, I'm kind of just thinking right here. Yeah, I think he'll get into the starting.
That are not my positions.
You were bull fucking shit. You did.
You're saying that I don't think Antifa exists. There's nothing that I've ever said in my entire life that says Antifa doesn't exist. The tweet itself doesn't mention either the Proud Boys or Antifa. It doesn't say.
You literally
the tweet doesn't say it.
To the one that talked about Antifa BLM. You knew that's what it was about. That's what you were referencing. And you were trying to say that the fucking...
And he goes back to
you were literally
tweets.
saying
That's
that
funny.
Antifa and the BLM movement itself, like you correlated them both.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read it right now to you. Everyone on screen can see it.
No.
There's an implication of the groups that he's talking about, but he doesn't specifically say which groups they are. So, I mean, it doesn't say that he never says that Antifa does or does not exist in this, nor does he mention like the Proud Boys, because he's generalizing towards like two specific types of protests that have been going on, particularly the BLM protests and then the election protests.
Go back up to the one you replied to, because you're replying in full context.
It's right here. It's right here.
Start from the top.
Okay. This is about Proud Boys coming from all over the country to swarm into DC like a pack of fucking locusts and destroy shit from that are like historically black institutions, like this black church right here, right? Which is something that white supremacists have done for fucking hundreds of years here in the United States. It's just property. Is that what they told us? Did you speak up? I did. Yes, his property destruction is wrong as well. Alluding to a vague hypocrisy, but not giving an actual argument, right? This guy says BLM was marching. Yeah, I don't. The way that this guy phrased his arguments is not the way that I would phrase my arguments, right? He's not necessarily wrong, but he does need to phrase it in a better way so that it's clear what he's saying, right? So this justifies property damage in the former case. After all, the civil rights movement in the 1960s incurred massive property damage, but it was overall needed. And that's 100% true. They were saying the exact same thing that you're saying about Martin Luther King, about all of the black activists in the fucking 60s that were fighting for desegregating the United States, as you were saying right now for
here's where I'm gonna here's where I'm gonna stop right here and break down the argument that's gonna happen between these two at this point. So basically, in the civil rights marches, there was a lot of media at the time that characterized these protests as violent and like very enraging. Like people are burning down cities back then. There were like whole pamphlets out that I don't remember where I found the images of the pamphlets, but I do remember like seeing them as a sort of historical evidence of it. I'd have to look at it later, but this did happen. And Martin Luther King, like one of the major leaders, he himself does not like riots. I am not. I'm agnostic on them. I think some of them can do good, some of them can do bad. It's all dependent on like the intentions and the goal. I'm blanking out. But yeah, no, I've actually no, I'm not like a fan of like property damage in general, anyways. But in the end, like not only like the violence themselves was a minor case, most of the violence was incurred onto the protesters by like the police or like any like third party interlocutors, which is the exact same thing that we're seeing now. Most of the rioting has been caused by these third parties or the police. And this is like a historical thing. Because most riots don't just happen spontaneously. They arise out of what are material conditions that have not been met and that have been failed to be met. And that's why there's like protests and riots going on. It's because they're fighting. They are making their voice heard collectively. They're stirring shit up, for like lack of a better term, and they're trying to bring attention to an issue. And that's with all riots and protests. With the election protests, the material conditions in this case would have been the election results were not what the people that support Trump wanted, and they're protesting the election itself. And I think protests are a good thing overall for discourse. But when you have like dumb intentions like the lockdown protests and the election protests, which partisanship aside, like if you have like the protests themselves exist because a certain condition was not met and people are suffering from it. And then MLK himself said that a riot is the language of the unheard. And what he meant by that is specifically what I've been laying out here, is that riots themselves arise out of material conditions that have not been met, and that people are crying out for them to be solved. And this is the same thing with protests, except that riots are a bit, they get more attention. And we see that in the media all the time. The BLM riots that happened in Minneapolis, Portland, Seattle, like there's ample media attention on it. There was plenty of attention on it, despite what people say, but that gets the message out. And here I will also say that I don't necessarily think like optics is always important, but I think now it's a bit more important nowadays, now that more people are informed on the issue.
Black people that are fighting for Black Lives Matter. No, you are so fucking wrong on this. You're so wrong on this. What? Tell me what it is.
You just inferred that I'm a fucking racist holding the black man back, and it isn't.
You don't even know that you're racist. That's how.
Hold on, I need to re-listen to that again, because I think I might have like paused in the middle.
You're saying about Martin Luther King, about all of the black activists in the fucking 60s that were fighting for desegregating the United States, as you are saying right now for black people that are fighting for Black Lives Matter. No, you are so fucking wrong on this.
Okay,
so wrong on this.
That's it. Okay. So basically what Sondsol is setting up here is he's saying you are making the same arguments right now against the BLM protests that you would make against the civil rights protests. And that is true. Like focusing specifically on the violence is pretty fucking toxic. It not only are you just ignoring like the actual movement itself, we've already demonstrated that's in the minority of cases. In the vast minority of cases, the overwhelming majority of the protests have just been that, protesting. And yet we have people like ReDNeQ who will focus on these minority cases instead of focusing on the message of the movement itself. And it's a way of targeting the movement itself without tacitly saying, oh, I think this message is bad. Or without like outwardly like saying that BLM bad. And this is the same process that can be applied to the civil rights protests and as well as like the Stonewall riots. Hold on. And like subsequent protests and the Hong Kong protests as well. You can make that argument that material conditions are not being met. And by the material conditions, I mean like transparency in the government in that case. But yeah, like this is like a common talking point. Like when you're trying to attack a protest that's advocating for civil rights.
What? Tell me what it is.
You just inferred that I'm a fucking racist holding the black man back, and it isn't.
You don't even know that you're racist. That's how fucking deep down this fucking hole you are.
Violence doesn't get anywhere. You're so full of shit.
You are full of shit. You have no.
Here's my issue right here with Sonsol's argument. Just calling him out as a racist immediately without, and like when it's already heated, it doesn't do much to really produce a good discourse. And when you'll see here that it'll just continue to devolve into a shouting match, but I think right here what he could have done was take the time to explain, like, because you're supporting a. Hold on, I don't know if he explained
historical context about anything that you talk about, and that's why it makes me so fucking mad. Yeah, if you don't understand.
And yeah, he has a right to be like angry about it, but what else? What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I think just outwardly saying like you don't know that you're racist just fuels his sort of position that the left likes to call him racist. I think the way I would have phrased it a bit better is that you're using an argument that has been used by people who are trying to deflect the issue of like civil rights. They're not like saying, they're not outwardly saying like, oh, I don't like this movement. I I'm not against this movement, but I don't like the violence, so I don't like the movement. They're like tacitly and uh, they're tacitly not criticizing. They're tacitly rejecting the movement without attacking the arguments of that the movement is presenting, and that's exactly what ReDNeQ is doing right now. He is tacitly rejecting the tenets of BLM at the moment, without really attacking the merit of BLM. And at this point, I wouldn't call him like a racist at this point. I would probably call him ignorant on the matter, in my opinion, and that he lacks significant context. But I wouldn't say something like, you don't know that you're racist. Because, I don't know. But that could just be me wanting to like bring down the pressure of the argument. But what else? What else? I had another point. Whatever, I lost it.
That back in the 60s? Hold the fuck up. I actually just yesterday saved a fucking oh fuck, where is it? Bookmarks.
You are such a fucking simp for your projected racism. It's fucking funny.
Wait, where are my bookmarks?
You are carrying so much white fucking guilt that you're literally accusing all white people.
I've never been told in my entire
BLM
life.
And Antifa are the same fucking thing.
Look at this tweet. Look on my screen right now. This was in 1966. All in all, do you feel that the demonstrations by African Americans on civil rights have helped more or hurt more in the advancement of civil rights for African Americans? And hurts is 85%. Why? Because they think that all that violence and this destruction of property was actively working against the African Americans' rights that they were fighting for. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about when you're talking about this. You're saying that, oh, you're just calling me racist. No.
And this is like the demonstrations that happened, I think, God, hold on, I need to think about this. Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yeah, this is the one that prohibits the discrimination on the basis of race, color, or origin. This is kind of like the big one. This is what a lot of people like to talk about. Then 1976, we have the prohibited discrimination of selection of federal jurors on the basis of race, color, religion, sex. Summary, when was this? When did this happen? Wikipedia. Okay. And then you see we continue to get like civil rights acts in the 1968 already, like, and we could like continue on at this point, but Title 10, the Anti-Riot Act, makes it a felony to travel in interstate commerce with the intent to incite, promote, encourage, participate in, and carry on a riot, which is a kind of interesting, because the police tend to determine like what becomes a riot, and then they do shit. Which you kind of get the idea of it, where if you have police that are saying, oh yeah, this shit's a riot, and you have people that are out of state protesting in there, and they get caught up and arrested, then that's where it gets a little bad. I personally wouldn't be for it or against it, but what Sonsol's bringing up here is saying that like optics isn't necessarily like the big issue of the movement, and by like focusing on the riots that are happening, and even here the question says the demonstrations. Clearly, I could probably assume that most of the media attention that they got was probably from was probably negative media about about like specifically like the riots that are happening, the damage done, and all that. And a lot of people don't know this, but the movement itself was not as popular as you think at the time. It wasn't like a 50-50 split. It was more like a 25-75 type thing, where white people are about it. You do have like the college liberal type shit, but otherwise, yeah, the civil rights protests were not like a popular movement until like the death of Martin Luther King, and that's when like shit skyrocketed because he was known among like the protesters themselves as just being like a very virtuous man. And you know, when you have like a martyr for your movement, you tend to drum support, which is what we see right now with BLM. With a lot of these cases, we have the Trayvon Martin case. He like literally like just got run down by George Zimmerman, and the dude's running free now. And you just have like the continuous like killing of black folk for what seems to be just like for no good reason, like especially like what you see on media. And then you have this backed up by studies that say like black people are disproportionately getting like killed by police, or disproportionately getting like jailed for crimes. We have like the highest prison population in the world. Among other things, are stopped more. Like you have like the systemic racism against them. When the criminal justice system, it builds up that sort of tension, and then we have shit like Trayvon Martin's death happen. When you have like George Floyd's death happen, you get like it bursts, and then you get these protests and demonstrations that are happening now.
You don't even know what you're saying is the exact same thing that they were saying back in the fucking 60s about this. And that's why it's fucking racist. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Racist? You know what's racist?
Yeah,
it's putting color into this problem.
Well, yeah, redneck. It's a civil rights protest where a group of people have been neglected by society. Like generally. Of course you're gonna focus that issue on them. Like that's not an argument against anything. And it's really interesting that he'd actually bring that up like it's some sort of slam dunk. But back to critiquing Sondsol here, I think here's how he could have phrased it a bit better. You're using the same argument that that racist would have used back then, because you could be a little bit more openly racist back then, to be honest. In the 60s, it's not a big stretch to say that a lot of people are a bit more openly racist and they espouse their views as such. So I would have correlated redneck to making these specific arguments and then lay the groundwork, if I wanted to, like if we lay this point and all that, and then it suggests that he might be racist, but I wouldn't openly call him racist. I would say that he's making arguments that racists would generally use in response to a civil rights protest.
About the fucking civil rights movement that's going on right now. It has no idea.
We should come on here. You told me to come on here, and you want to be a bitch?
You were the one quote tweeting me. Come on, motherfucker. Tell me why I'm the racist one.
I'm right here.
Tell me.
I'm right here. What the fuck do you want to hear?
I'm asking you to tell me the fuck. Tell me why race doesn't play into. Hold on. Tell me why race doesn't play into the Black Lives Matter movement at all. Why it shouldn't.
You're focusing on the BLM piece of this. And you're not even focusing on the Antifa part of it, which was the argument.
And yet again, we see redneck retreat back to a different argument because he can't defend the current one that he's doing. Like that right there, that is really telling of him. In my opinion, I think redneck is just so fucking disingenuous with how he argues. He makes plenty of like indefensible points, and he's not willing to address like these sorts of things. Hold on, we go back.
Come on, motherfucker, tell me why I'm the racist one.
I'm right here.
Tell me.
I'm right here. What the fuck
Tell
do
me
you
why
want
I'm
to
the
hear?
racist.
I'm asking you to tell me the fuck. Tell me why race doesn't play into.
Why wouldn't race be playing into like the Black Lives Matter movement?
Tell me
why
would race doesn't play into the Black Lives Matter movement at all? Why it shouldn't?
You're focusing on the BLM piece of this. You're not even focusing on the Antifa part of it, which was
Antifa is a part of the anti-fascists are aligned with BLM, ReDNeQ. They are. There's nothing you could really like do there besides you kind of have to associate the two groups in that case if you're trying to make a statement on like the Black Lives Matter movement in general and saying that there's violence happening in there. Because you could say all day that that oh yeah, like this group of people among this wider movement is doing violence, but at that point you're just attacking that group of people and not the movement itself. And he's making a broad statement towards the movement being violent, and without making an argument for it. He's just saying he's moving from the movement is violent, and then he's doing a Mott and Bailey. He's saying that oh nope, it's just Antifa that's being stupid, which they can be, but I wouldn't say that's a fair assessment of the Black Lives Matter movement in general.
The argument.
Why is Antifa?
That's what I'm saying.
Who is Antifa out there supporting?
Them fucking selves. Are you telling me that they are out there just supporting BLM? They're about anarchy as just as much as anybody else, right?
You are such a
about
dumb
anarchy as well.
my guy. When you talk about Antifa, do you think that they're like proactively going out and seeking
anarchy? Is BLM against anarchy?
BLM is not like.
Are they wanting that? Do they want that?
BLM as a movement has no position on anarchy in general. In fact, actually, no, I'd say that they're like statist in that. Some of them are statist in that fact. Like typically, they're trying to advocate for better policies that the government can do, and what the state can do for them, which I wouldn't think is necessarily like an anarchic framework, which isn't like an anarchic argument. An anarchist would generally like go for the abolition of the government in general. And this is just yet another demonstration of ReDNeQ making a straw man argument.
Fucking anarchy to happen? Is that what they want?
Do you think that Antifa is fighting for an anarchic state right now? Do you unironically think?
All right, what's the autonomous zone? What is the autonomous zone? What is that all about?
That was some cringy LARPy shit.
Now you want to make an excuse for that shit.
Here's what I would have said here. Chaz was probably, I'm pretty sure it was just like spontaneously done. It wasn't necessary. I don't know much about Chaz in general. I should have probably touched up on this a bit before then. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Let me see if I just read up on this real quick. It was an occupation protest. Okay. Right. It was self-organized zone without official leadership. So, okay. Now I have a better idea. Now remember. Chaz is a bit more of a... God, what was that one thing? It was at Wall Street. I really wish I had like chatters here, otherwise I'd be able to like do this off the top of my head. Wall Street 2008. The Occupy Wall Street movement. So this is the Chaz is an example of an occupation zone. It is a form of direct protest where groups of people where groups of people get together, and they don't necessarily like have a structured like style of leadership, but they have like specific goals that they want met, and then they try to demonstrate those said goals. And in this case, I don't know if it's necessarily fair to call them just like LARPers. Actually, no, there some of them. I can definitely say that a good portion of them were LARPers, but I think a lot of it was because it was kind of overrun by them. I think the purpose of it was supposed to be a sort of Occupy style movement where people make political demonstrations that show like a better place without the need for like the policing style that we have right now, which had mixed results, I think. Hold on. Da, 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 da. The shootings, yeah. There were shootings in there. Da, da, da. It is unclear if the shootings were connected to protests. God. Analysis video, blah, blah, blah. Suggests miscommunication slowed the response. Do you think Sonsol's a good debater? Personally, I think he does have the right idea with debating in general. And personally, I don't think I'm that good at debating, but I think one of his worst flaws is he doesn't articulate the best at a lot of times. I think there's a lot of times where he could phrase things a bit better, or make his point a bit better, but he does tend to make good points when he does think his stuff through, and I think he does have good potential as a debater. I just don't think he's reached that potential yet, in my opinion. Even and and take it with a grain of salt, Sean. I'm not that good with debating either. I share these flaws with him, but yeah, I feel like he tries to butter them up too much. What do you mean by that? Because I'm just gonna go back to this, but Chaz itself, it did have its issues. A lot of like the direct action things do have issues. And but typically the whole point of it is to demonstrate like a better working society. And I don't think Chaz was a great demonstration of that. I think if it were planned, it would have been a lot better. But no, it like it ended up being pretty bad. But I don't. But what ReDNeQ is about to make he's about to make the argument that this this type of stuff like BLM trademark happen these Chazes happen all over the country, which is not the case because not everyone in BLM is an anarchist. Like he was in a debate with multiple conservatives and they'd say some dumb shit and he'd just laugh. He prioritizes good discourse a bit too much sometimes. Okay, that's fair. That's actually a fair critique. I feel like personally, like I'm a bit more of an aggressive person when I debate. I'm a bit more of a passive aggressive person in general when I have this sort of thing. And I don't necessarily think you need to be full on good discourse with people unless they're acting in good faith. And of course, like the good faith thing is subjective sometimes. But usually bad faith arguments would be arguments that are made with like shit data or no data at all, and they're trying to assert that this is like truth or among other things. But of course, that can be subjective when you get into the nitty gritty of it. But I think ReDNeQ makes a lot of bad faith arguments.
How many autonomous zones popped up?
Only the one that they allowed to happen.
That they allowed to happen. Yeah.
That's right.
No, you have no fucking clue. You think that because it happened in one fucking city, that is it is completely like you can copy and paste it onto every fucking city all over the country. But every single one of the cities had a different reason for like why violence escalated, or if violence escalated, or if there was an autonomous zone, or if there was even ANTIFA there, or anything like that.
Every BLM protest has been followed by fucking Antifa thugs at night. They've been
Antifa thugs. Not sure why I have an issue with that statement, actually. Mainly because like that's not always the case. They're not like, for one, I wouldn't characterize them as thugs. I don't think it's not. I don't think it's an accurate depiction of them. I don't think it's a good representation of them. Typically, anti-fascists would be there with their like shields and shit to defend the protesters themselves from police engagement. And what I've seen, that's pretty much been their main thing, is defending the movement itself against like the third parties that might want to attack them. And it's like the same thing with like in the daytime, you have like people that are standing in front of the movement that are typically white because it's kind of shielding the movement with their privilege. I think it's an extension of that, except a bit more physically with actually like, fighting against cop violence in that case.
Is a fucking cancer on the side of BLM's cause. I fucking have said this on stream when I first fucking started. They had everybody at George Floyd. BLM had the fucking world at George Floyd. But you know what fucking happened? Antifa's fucking cock shit from these white fucking liberals who have this ultimate shame go out and fucking tear shit down.
Anti-fascists, really? I wouldn't characterize them all as liberals. ReDNeQ will conflate liberals and leftists a lot here.
Doing it for the black movement, and what do? They're ruining the black fucking movement. So shut your fucking.
And by extent, this would also apply to the civil rights protests again, with like, oh, this small section is ruining this big giant movement. This violent section is killing the civil rights protests, and when in reality, it's a little bit more of a complicated situation. Bad apples in a group ruins the entire bunch. It's not really that simple of an argument to make. And ReDNeQ will just oversimplify a lot of these arguments because he's very ignorant on the issue.
Pile. You want to do something good for black people? Quit fucking antagonizing white liberals to go out there and burn shit down. Dumbass.
Liberals. Implying that an anarchist can even be a liberal, number one, is fucking hilarious. But number two, do you really think that the idea that like Antifa is going out there and like, what do you think that they're subverting? Do you think that, hold on. Are they, I'm not protecting shit. I'm calling you out for being stupid as fuck.
And depending on the writing that happens, if you have like private businesses that are getting attacked, typically it's not like Antifa that's really doing it. It's more or less opportunists that see this as a way of getting like material goods to help them like survive or at least like have a better perception in society, because there's a stigma with being poor. There's a stigma with not having like cool looking shit or like not having money. And a lot of it's just like material conditions that are trying to be solved. If you have like shit like statues that are getting taken down, it's probably like a specific issue with that historical figure and what they represent to that movement. And if it's public buildings like police stations, and again, like they're the sort of symbolic thing of like the police brutality shit that they advocate for. And I wonder why conservatives are so threatened by anti-fascists. I don't know, man. Conservatives, they just want to conserve. What's the word I'm looking for? I wonder what they want to conserve. It starts with an F. Typically characterized by a bundle of sticks, at least like in pictorial form. Popularized by Italy in the 30s. I don't know. It rings a bell. But yeah, no. ReDNeQ will probably go for the enlightened centrum and say fuck fascists, fuck anti-fascists, but will tacitly endorse the fascist because, hiding the power level, or he's just like too stupid to understand what he's arguing for. But, the idea of conservatives being against anti-fascists when on the front line in Normandy, there's a pretty damn big anti-fascist movement with lots of violence too. Let me tell you, man. Like they had the anti-fascists in Normandy. They had guns. They were coming in boatloads with guns, and they were firing upon these folk. I just think it was a really, really non-productive way of dealing with the fascists. Like, let me tell you, like, you got to be nice to them. You can't be you can't like riot against them. Like, what did they do? They're just sitting in their little bunkers. Like, they're not hurting you. You're the one attacking them. You Antifa. Like, come on now. But you know, like, this is you could see where I take this into like the most extreme argument, and and like at the base premise of it, like, people being violent isn't necessarily an argument against the movement itself. Typically, there's a purpose to that violence, and then it's up to like the populace to determine whether or not it was a good use of violence or not.
Trying to say that, like,
Anyways.
I'm, number one, that I'm denying the existence of Antifa. Number two, that there isn't a fucking contextual difference between, like, protests escalating into, like, a riot that, like, doesn't, like, pick and choose where it's fucking, like, destroying, like, property, when the fucking Proud Boys go out of their way to leave their state, go to Washington, D.C., find a black church, and do property damage there. If you don't understand the historical context for that, then you need to sit down and shut the fuck up and learn a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, back in the day, groups like the KKK and like other like white supremacist groups, they tend to target like sources of like where black people are thriving at. This is what you get with like the Tulsa riots. You had like black people that were like making a living for themselves and they got fucked. And you have like this trend where you have white supremacist groups attacking like black churches, black stores, black like areas as a way of subjugating them, like places where black people tended to vote. They tended to intimidate them. Like these sorts of things happened. And so when you have a group of Proud Boys who like don't really do much besides like harass a civil rights movement and then like attack a and then vandalize a black church by taking off their Black Lives Matter sign and burning it, like you you have to kind of like fill in the dots about what their motivation that night was, and that it was a targeted event.
Happened to this country over the past fucking 400 years.
Boys, you cocksucker!
You literally are right now. You literally are right now.
Look at you, how mauled you are. Oh, I'm fucking upset.
Yeah, I am upset. I'm upset because I used to think that
I probably would not have exploded at this point. I would personally, I would try to like build a narrative against him against ReDNeQ. If I'm honest, I wouldn't just outright say that he's endorsing Antifa. I would say, or not Antifa, but the Proud Boys. I would saying that by focusing primarily on what BLM and Antifa are doing, you are, instead of like actively criticizing the Proud Boys, and by making your criticisms of Antifa and BLM your entire premise. Oh yeah, what is Black Wall Street? God, I don't have a lot of. I don't actually have any information on that right now because let me see. It's not. I don't remember what it was about. Oh yeah, okay, this was the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing. That's what it was called. Yeah, I hear it brought up a lot. So the Black Wall Street. This was in Tulsa. Like the whole Tulsa race riots. This is the Black Wall Street was a sort of a enclave of a black entrepreneurship. And this is where like this is what this says here, an affluent African American community. And I'm gonna link this into chat actually for you to read. And I should probably read up on it a bit more, but basically this sort of black success was seen as a threat by white supremacists and their attempts at like subjugating the black folk. Because first it was with slavery, then it was with the redlining and Jim Crow laws. And right now, what we see is that sort of same thing, but with the broader criminal justice system, with the war on drugs and the pop up of like private prisons to like exploit labor. but yeah, I think this article sums it up pretty well. Yeah, yeah, this definitely sums it up. And I think there's like an audio version of it too. Yeah, basically to sum it up, it's basically an area of like black wealth and success. White supremacists said, hey, that's bad. And then they started a riot over it and basically destroyed everything in there. And it was like a specific targeted event against black folk.
That you were a good fucking person, and I tried to reach out to you in person. Yeah, you tried to say that you're a good person.
In my family than you even seen in your life, you fucking racist piece of shit.
Someone, please,
I have
Polar,
black friends.
do the fucking meme.
Oh, please find my black friend to give me a card so I can show my blackness. Other than I actually have fucking blood.
No, I think this was in reference to Sondsol like calling Polar to like throw the little emote out of ReDNeQ.
Line family. Get the fuck out of with your bullshit.
Idpol. Yeah. You are virtue signaling so fucking hard right now.
Excuses for ANTIFA. This was not about BLM.
So,
this was fucking about.
So the whole Idpol thing, ReDNeQ was with the whole I have black family thing. I can't be racist. I have black family. That's also kind of telling, because a lot of people who would call themselves racist but then hold racist positions, those are the kinds of things they would say to sort of deflect their positions.
ANTIFA, and you saying that they don't.
This was about the Proud Boys for me. I'm fucking.
They're the same. They're the fucking same. You cock.
This is the point where I'm just like, yeah, no, like you're full of shit. But yeah, no, Antifa. Crap. There's like a research document that Demon Mama had that I wanted to look at a bit deeper because I was supposed to be preparing for a debate on this specific thing. Like, is BLM/Antifa like the same like thing in terms of effects and what they do as the Proud Boys? And when you look at it, no, they don't. They're completely different, and they do like different things.
Sucker.
I could go into that later, but
I'm sorry.
Jesus
I could
Christ.
probably. I want to get through this.
Hold on.
Proud Boys are no different than the fucking ANTIFA. That's the facts. No one's helping out the fucking BLM movement.
Tell me how.
BLM is, for one, I guess they're not a hate movement. They're not built on a hate of like anyone. Their main premise is their main topic is systemic racism. Their specific issue was probably police brutality. That's kind of been their main issue nowadays. Whereas the Proud Boys came up in 2016 post-Trump election, and they're by Gavin McInnes. They're a hate group. They have a pretty big issue with anti-Semitism and with Nazis and fascists and white supremacists. There's just a lot of them that are built within that movement, but they call themselves a Western chauvinist movement, which I think is just a dog whistle for the white nuclear family. And that's my opinion, but I still need to read up a bit more on them before I can go a little bit more into the details. But from what I've like looked into, like that's what I've gotten from that.
Pieces of shit.
Tell me how Proud Boys are
equivalent. Both engaging in fucking violence towards each other. It's a fucking gang warfare nowadays.
No. They don't just engage in the idea that they're just engaging in violence doesn't make them like two warring factions, just two gangs at wars. It lacks context. Like, Proud Boys are generally looking for a fight. And Antifa are just kind of there to like defend the protest movement. They're not there to like stir shit up in the same way that the Proud Boys are. The Proud Boys have an actual organizational structure. They like go to like specific towns. Sorry, I really need like whenever I have like a burp coming on, I really need to fucking like mute my mic when I do that, because I just like don't have a button that'll mute me on stream. I have it on my thing, but anyways, back to my argument. The Proud Boys, they have a specific structure. They have like actual meetings, like a hierarchical structure. They have members and all that. and they tend to like plan out where they go to, especially with these protests, like with the Million MAGA March and all that. They don't just see a protest and they're like, hey, let's go fuck them up. Like, typically they like plan their events out somewhat to make a demonstration. Whereas Antifa, it's just it's like typically like a decentralized bunch of college kids like in a group chat or something. And they see like these protests in there. Now there's a speedrunner keeps count of the total amount of burps that they do. Cool. I'm not that kind of person, honestly, but good on them. But there's no like Antifa that are just like, hey, let's go fuck shit up. Linus Frog, that's their name. Oh, okay, cool. I'll look into them, see what they do.
Stupid mentality.
My impression of how this works is that the Proud Boys are proactively violent because what they will do is they will get all of the chapters in their like all over the country, like they're doing right now, and go out of their way to get as many people in that chapter to go cross country to fucking Washington D.C. to fucking do all sorts of fucking horrible shit to people that are in their own community, and say, whose streets? Our streets. People from fucking Florida and fucking Washington, D.C. People from fucking like Utah and Washington, D.C. saying who.
And the reason why I make the argument that they like they organize themselves and they like go to these places where they expect they either have a protest or expect to have a protest is because with what I've remembered from like watching with Dylan and his experience in these protests and with Proud Boys and with what he's gotten, like a lot of these Proud Boys, they don't know like where things are in the metro area. They don't like they kind of don't have any idea where they're going and all that, and they tend to get lost. And so yeah, like they don't demonstrate like any sort of like ability to in groups to navigate their way around town. And that's when it comes into question, like, are they like around here, or are they just are they like putting them in, or not putting them in, or are they getting like, I guess, marching orders, for lack of a better term?
Streets are streets.
Yeah. Antifa doesn't have anybody travel around, do they?
They don't. No, they don't, because it's all locals. You don't know how Antifa.
I wouldn't say that all of them are locals. I would say like the vast majority of them are from like the general area, and that they like know that these protests are happening, and that they expect like a police presence that would require like the protests themselves to get like defended from, or to defend in that case. And there are some cases where people do travel to stuff, but it is not like by and large like what Antifa does or what anti-fascists do, or at least with the ones that we've seen. But with the Proud Boys, it tends to be the case that they like go to these things and they like they organize a bunch of people and they like make their presence at these specific locations to do harm.
If that even works.
They're not organized. Remember? How is it only just local?
They're not like if you dude, if they fucking
what about those buses that haul people in? What about those?
What?
The buses thing is just a QAnon conspiracy type shit. Like, there's no evidence that Antifa get busted.
What buses? What the fuck are you even talking about right now?
Buses?
Some fucking conspiracy
they're not getting busted.
Shit. Conspiracy shit that you always fucking bring up. The buses of Antifa super soldiers coming in, and they're all they're like 8 feet tall, and they're big fucking.
Here I would have asked him where he got that from, and yeah, and I would have like really pressed a redneck on this. And I would ask him, like, where are you getting this assumption that, oh, I can hop in if you want? Oh, shoot. Yeah, let me get on Discord real quick. Because I don't think I've hit the black block thing yet, and I want you to talk about that. Hop in Discord, man. I will pull you in. Oh, boy. No, I don't want Steam on. There he is. Yo.
the actual buttons. How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, cool.
We are we are right on the buses discourse, the good old conspiracy thing.
Yeah, no. I heard you say about the black bloc thing. When we get there, I can explain a little bit more about what I've learned since the debate. But
Yeah, because I don't know much about the black bloc, and I haven't looked it up yet. So
yeah. So up to 15 minutes and 19 seconds. What have you thought?
you right now you're doing pretty well. Like I guess for like the tone of the situation, I think I would have tried to like calm it down a bit and get the points going through. Because right now it's just like a
he
big
came in
shouting
so
match.
hot. For me, he came in so hot, and this sort of thing, I feel like it like unironically triggers the fuck out of me. Like, just like I immediately get angry. So I should learn to get that kind of emotional response and tuck it back for sure.
Right, because I think there's a good way to like project your emotions in a way that would make your argument stronger. But I don't think like necessarily like just going into a shouting match is gonna fix it. But there's but ReDNeQ just makes a lot of the he'll either like Mott and Bailey or he will abandon a position and move on to a previous argument or a new argument when he can't defend like a specific argument.
Yeah.
And he's just moving around points, trying to like score wins somewhere. I think that's just super fucking disingenuous if you're trying to have like a productive conversation.
No, 1000%. And I actually talked to him again today on his new favorite panel show to go on.
His Cope channel.
His Cope channel, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
I
were you
saw.
in that call?
I did see part. I did hear part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't do as well in that because I wasn't like in a debate mood. I was just kind of memeing in chat about Barton's butt fucking. So, and then they decided to do the whole debate thing. I was actually pretty glad Samantha Banana was there because she kept everything kind of on the rails.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think she's pretty good at like keeping the conversation going and like going into each individual points and slowing down that conversation so that you can like discuss the nuances.
No, 1000%.
Like even if you don't agree with her, and sometimes I don't agree with her on some of the stuff, but like even then, like she does have that effect of keeping people from like abandoning a specific point to like dunk on you with another one.
Yeah, so I think the easiest way for you to be able to like do the whole debate review thing is I'll just kind of chill in the back here. I'll mute while you're listening, and then you can uh, do your do the listening. And when you think of like when there's something that you want to critique, I'll unmute and we can talk. Because I've watched this debate back twice now.
I'll do one better. We can do like the whole share thing, and we can just like
Oh
pause
yeah, that's
whenever.
a great idea.
Share. I forget the website it's called. Hold on. I think I can find it for previous conversations. Nope. Was it Affinity? Yeah, it was this. Watch together. That's what it's called. And then I'll just throw this in there. Boom. There's the YouTube
Lucid
video.
Spark is the virtual whiteboard you need to bring your best ideas to life.
Turn off the ad so I can let that play through. Wait. Okay. I will share the link in Discord. Tell me when you're in.
Okay, let me see here. Did you? Oh yeah, DM. Cool.
Yep.
Yep, I'm in.
Okay, here we go.
conspiracy shit. Conspiracy shit that you always fucking bring up. Buses of Antifa super soldiers coming in, and they're like 8 feet tall, and they're big fucking, but at the same time they're like 5 foot.
I thought that's funny.
Scrawny little college boys.
The whole Antifa super soldier thing.
You know, like shut the fuck up with this. They're bringing in busloads of people when literally the Proud Boys do this. They attest to it.
A one-shot fucking thing. You are so peanut buttered up. You fucking might as well get some jelly. Jesus
Christ.
Oh
God, I hate that.
That
pun.
Yeah. You got a fucking hard on for
this.
Yeah,
I do have a hard on because they're a hate group and they're trying to weasel their way into our fucking website.
Antifa.
No, they are not.
You
are so fucking stupid, my guy. Because when you look at Antifa, right, it's usually like local groups because there's not fucking 500. Hold on. I'm gonna fucking talk now. Hold on, I'm gonna fucking talk right now. It's fucking like you look at fucking Washington D.C. right now. There's hundreds of Proud Boys descending on that fucking area right now. But if you look in every single fucking city, it seems like there's a proportional level of fucking like Antifa to what you would expect in a fucking city that size. Why is that? Because they're not bussing in people. You have no fucking evidence for that. It's usually locals. It's usually little college kids who are trying to stand up for fucking some sort of civil rights movement. And you're so fucking stupid with the fucking bussing shit.
Oh, really? You forget that Kenosha was a bust-in situation? You cocksucker. The state I fucking
the whole busing
Kenosha situation where all the hold on.
Kenosha.
Yeah,
the whole busing in situation. What ReDNeQ will do right after this is he's going to link something to the PJ Media, which quotes a tweet that came out of CBS about the mayor saying that everyone that was arrested was from out of state, which in this case would make ReDNeQ's argument a Mott and Bailey, because not every person that's in that protest is necessarily out of state or like way far out of town. But the fact that everyone was arrested that was out of state, it only suggests that everyone that was arrested was out of state. You can't generalize that into the broader movement and say, everyone that came here was from out of state. And it was also from Minnesota, I think, which you later talked about, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like, in this case, like, not only did, like, ReDNeQ pull a Mott and Bailey, but he also, like, conflated two different situations. And I mean, like, you could, it's fair to say that there are people that were in Kenosha that were from out of state. It's fair to say that with any movement or any like protest that happens, they'll go to places that are out of state, but it's not, you don't like by and large see everyone that's like out of state. But maybe in Kenosha you have the strongest argument for that because it's a smaller town. And there's with like the big flood of people, you could actually make the argument that that a good portion of them that were there were not from Kenosha. But that's not what ReDNeQ
a bunch
makes.
Of white supremacists and escalated the situation with a bunch of guns.
You fucking lying piece of shit.
What are you talking about?
The only fucking person that was there was fucking Kyle Rittenhouse with his little crew of 7 people.
Yeah,
compared to how many fucking Antifa
came in out of fucking state.
Antifa came in from out of state too.
Yeah, source.
Jesus.
Like
this he got you on a technicality.
Or shut the fuck up with it because that's dumb as fuck. The idea that there's like this like
ReDNeQ did get you on the technicality of like the whole like provide a source on that.
How so?
Like, well, the technicality being that you said that no one that was. Hold on, let me go back real quick.
Like if you're gonna make a claim. Like if you're gonna make a claim, then fucking be able to back it up or shut the fuck up with it because that's dumb as fuck. The idea that there's like this like concerted fucking movement to create like some sort of civil war that you keep on advocating.
This moved forward, I think.
Stand up for fucking some sort of civil rights movement. Like escalating the situation with a bunch of guns.
You fucking lying piece of shit.
What are you talking about?
The only fucking person that was there was fucking Kyle Rittenhouse with his little crew of 7 people.
Yeah,
compared to how many fucking Antifa
came in out of fucking state.
Antifa came in from out of state too.
Yeah, source.
That was the technicality. Like that small point right there. Like you could extrapolate to say that there were anti-fascists that were there. That I think the source that you brought up that were arrested. Like, I think that would have been the technicality. Like, there's anti-fascists that came out of state that were arrested.
Right, and I was
like,
asking
but of
for a
course, it's
source
like a
on that, right?
very and the source was like the hold on. The technicality being that it's happened before. I don't think it was the specific
Oh, maybe I
Kenosha.
misunderstood him at the time.
Yeah.
Or there were several times where I've looked back and I was like, oh, you know what? I just like straight up didn't understand what he said there.
Right. And that's where like it's a technicality. It's like a very small, minute point, but it kind of looks weird when you like get presented a source and it says, "Oh, there are people out of state that were arrested." And I wouldn't say it's like a major thing, but I probably would have pressed him a bit harder on the substance of the PJ Media article.
Well, the reason I didn't really like press him hard because it wasn't pertaining to the thing that he was talking to. It wasn't talking about Kenosha.
Yeah, it was Minnesota, right?
Yeah, and he was talking about Kenosha.
Right. Okay. I think that makes it a bit more clear. Hold on. There we go.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
if you're gonna make a claim, then fucking be able to back it up or shut the fuck up with it, because that's dumb as fuck. The idea that there's like this like concerted fucking movement to create like some sort of civil war that you keep on advocating for on fucking Twitter, like this is fucking cringe as fuck. And
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
the
understand
Civil War
how
bait.
you can fucking like simultaneously hold the belief that you're like a good person, but constantly talk about civil war. You can simultaneously hold on to this idea that the fucking Proud Boys are not a like a fucking hate group, or if they are, then they're the exact same as Antifa, who are on the side of the people that are ones that are being hated on. They literally are. They're the ones that are going out there with fucking shield walls and standing.
Antifa has ruined BLM's message.
No, they literally.
Again, it's like saying that like a small sect of people that were violent in the civil rights protest have ruined the civil rights movement.
Yeah, and he doubled down on that in our conversation today, and said that like the point that I'm making with the statistic that I brought up, like that poll, was that at the time everyone was super mad about it and said it damaged their movement, and
it was even talking about the movement in general, not specifically like the violence itself. And I'm pretty sure if you specifically mentioned the violence, it would have been a bit higher.
Yeah, and he's taking that to mean that the perception has persisted that way, I guess. And I'm trying to say no. Most people don't look at the violent aspects of the civil rights movement as much as they do the consequentialist like outcome of it, you know?
Right. And the thing is, like, nowadays we don't look at the we don't look at the violent aspect of the civil rights movement. We talk about like the policy changes that happened, what generally happened. There are some conversations where you can get into like what the police and what interlocutors did to them as well. But by and large, we don't focus on the violence of the civil rights movement nowadays from the protesters themselves, unless it's within the context of like how the media treated them at the time, or how other people treated them at the time when that happened, which we can translate back into this specific situation now with BLM.
1000%.
And one criticism I believe I made of you is that you outright called ReDNeQ a racist, like sort of pretty early into the conversation. What I would have done differently was sort of build a case against him being racist. It's like, oh, you're tacitly endorsing a position that people that were racist back in the civil rights movement, or people that would hold a position that we consider racist as a result of how the civil rights movement occurred, and you make your argument based around that. And then you sort of build your case up to where, oh, he said he endorsed this specific thing, and then he endorses this thing, and you just build like an evidence base to call him like racist at that point towards like the end of the conversation.
Yeah, no, when I talked to him today, I realized that was a huge sticking point why he was so fucking mad the entire goddamn time, because he doesn't like being called a racist. And given his background, I can understand. And I think that I should have been more clear then and today when I talked to him that I don't think that I'm a consequentialist, right? If the end result of your like rhetoric and your endorsement of groups is like racist, like ends, then even if you don't mean for it to be, then you're engaging in racism, right?
Yeah. And then at that point, you could debate about the definition of racism, and then you'd be able to get them there. Because then you could talk about how like the language around racism has changed nowadays. We don't necessarily just mean like the specific interactions that we call racist, where we're saying like, oh, you suck, or like you're different because of your like skin color or specific trait. But rather you go into like the broader systemic racism that you're tacitly endorsing positions that keep this group of people in a disproportionate like worse situation than this other group of people. And then
I think that the best thing that I could do is to like calm down so I could, because that's something that I know, and like something that I would usually do. But when like in these heated situations, I think that I need to
same, Sean, I was laughing.
Either learn how to keep on point while I am heated, or to just like learn how to calm the fuck down, because I missed points, I know, and I missed out on easy arguments that could have at least did segments of that conversation quicker.
Yeah. Let's see here. Come on.
I mean,
there
I will say
they have ruined BLM's message.
I don't know if they've ruined it. What I will say is there are people that go in. There are some people that have gone into these different BLM protests that have ruined, like, that have damaged the messaging, like with the defund the police stuff, and with the like, all cops are bastards shit, right? But I don't think that is the main focus. Outside of the fucking narrative that you see every day on your fucking news feed, it's not the narrative that most.
What news feed? Tell me what news feed.
Like Twitter, like a news feed.
This you could have probably explained a bit better.
You literally, I mean,
you're so.
You think so?
Here's my thing.
Yeah, you could have explained like the stuff that you see on Twitter can influence your position on the matter, and then you go into that
narratives and stuff. Yeah, I guess I was thinking giving too much charitability to his intelligence when it comes to just saying newsfeed.
God. Yeah, sure.
You have bought into a very narrow view of the world.
You have to be the same with Antifa.
I do not have to. It's not a fucking zero-sum game. It's not either or.
ReDNeQ's going to continue to engage in enlightened centrism.
I don't necessarily support Antifa. I don't know enough about them, okay? When it comes to like how they organize and shit. But what I can say is, even if hold on, let me finish my fucking statement. Hold on, let me finish my statement. But when it comes to like looking at the actual damages of these fucking cities and what the Proud Boys have done and what the other cities have done, there is no concerted effort. They're not targeting certain businesses. They're not it's like literally random acts of violence throughout these like super escalated protests.
Here you repeatedly talk about like random acts of violence. Here would have probably explained a bit more like how this sort of thing happens, that it's not necessarily just that it's not necessarily like Antifa or BLM just specifically like breaking shit because they're mad, but rather that they've been pushed towards that because of X, Y, and Z, like either the police like aggravated them, or like the interlocutors that started shit and they kind of got associated with it. And that's where you could probably go into the 93% data, that study, and that's where you could probably like discuss the minutia of that. But I think calling it like random acts of violence is pretty oversimplified. And
I can agree to that. I guess that in the future, the best way to go about it would just be to say that there's, I mean, the best way to go about it would probably be to say, there's a continual like cycle of protests that escalate into violence because of conditions that people are put into. While these aren't necessarily random, they're not targeted at any one person or at any uh, uh, institution. Like when you're like burning down a pizza shop, you're not burning it down because they're Italian food. It's because it was just something that was there and it got caught in the crossfire. So in terms of targeting, it's random, but in terms of the violence itself, it's not necessarily it's not really random.
I think my only critique of that would be like predominantly if private property would be a bit more, I guess, quote unquote, random. That it's not necessarily like a targeted event, but maybe when you're vandalizing like statues or like government buildings or like say the police station that got burned down in Minnesota, then there's like a more of a like targeted event at that point. But again, I'd probably like not say that it's necessarily like a predetermined thing, so much more as it's a crime of passion at that point.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's probably the best way to
Yeah.
word it.
That's right. Whereas the Proud Boys go out of their way to travel to a fucking city. They find a black church and they fucking deface it. That is something that's happened.
Church, right? They deface it by tearing down Antifa shit and BLM posters. Is that what they did? I need to understand what they did.
It was church property.
Yeah, when you with ReDNeQ, when you go to a specific property and you tear down a Black Lives Matter flag and then burn it, and that it also happens to come from a black church, the message there you're bringing is I don't support the racial justice movement, so much so that I'm willing to like damage property of like that is owned and run by black folk to make this message that not only that you don't really necessarily agree, but that you also are against them like having like a movement that enfranchises them more.
Yeah, he's thinking that he here's what he's doing throughout this entire debate is he's assigning enough charitability to the Proud Boys and demonizing Antifa to the point where they are equivalent, right? And I don't like the amount of charitability he's able to give the Proud Boys, and that's what made me yell, raise my voice, not use my inside voice.
Right. And I think here I think you called him out on his like enlightened centrist point pretty decently at this point. You've demonstrated a little bit that yeah, he's kind of assigning too much charitability, and you could also add that to the is ReDNeQ a racist card in that case.
Yeah.
As well, because you're tacitly endorsing a hate group that is directing its hate towards a black-owned church against the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a racial justice movement, and that becomes just yet another tick on the list.
Mm-hmm.
You dumb fuck! Are you serious?
I'm not saying dickhead. I said, what the fuck did they do factually?
They set fire to signs in the fucking churchyard that effaced the church. They damaged the fucking churches themselves.
I actually don't know if they actually defaced the church. I should have probably looked that specific.
I believe that I was misinformed on that. From what I had been told before this debate was that they had like damaged the church building in some way. But I was misinformed. They just burned the shit on the lawn, which I mean, I guess if I wanted to be weaselly, I could say that the church property is also the lawn, but I'll concede the fact that I fucked up on the on that specific point for sure.
Yeah, and I think a better way of going about that argument was that one like correcting that sort of that thing that they burned like a Black Lives Matter poster at a black church and then sort of focusing on the messaging of that sentence. rather than focusing on like I guess the fact that it was just burned in general. I guess. I don't know if that made sense. If I'm honest.
No, that did make sense. Yeah, no, I understood.
Show me that. Show me that.
The destruction during protests was reminiscent of cross burning, said Reverend. I don't know if that's an L or an I. Ianther Mills of historic Asbury United Methodist Church. Yeah, and I'm still waiting on that Kenosha source saying that there was a bunch of bust-in people.
Yeah, I think if you focused on the messaging of it rather than that, at least with what you know, rather than like making, I guess, that the assumption that like the church itself was like defaced. I think that would have been better. It looks like right here that you're walking back on the argument.
Right.
Yeah. So. And did he ever bring up the busing situation?
I made him bring it up later. And here's the thing with like some of me like walking things back at some points is that while I was having the conversation, I was really worried about TOS. I didn't know if I was like fucking up by like gonna get myself banned for saying that violence is acceptable from Antifa at some points, and like so there are like some points where like I knew that like I was kind of weaseling my points a little bit because I was just kind of worried about the bannable offenses that were possible.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
The source on your channel. It's okay.
Put it in the fucking Discord. Like right below the source that I linked.
And then the busing thing. I don't think.
Yeah, this is the source for the busing that I'm asking for here.
Where are you gonna put it? Just curious, so I know where to click on.
You're asking me.
Yeah. I wanted to see that.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood. Here, let me see if I can pull it up here. He put it in general. Let me scroll up and scroll up. All right, here we are. Now, for some reason, whenever he links sources, it doesn't show up as a hyperlink. So you have to like copy and paste it. I don't know why.
It was the PJ Media source.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was that one. Yeah, no evidence of actual busing.
Nope.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, I did not see anything about busing in there when I looked over it during the debate. Did either of you see the Mr. Geek debate Rob Noor? I have not actually.
I watched it a little bit live, and I really wish that I was able to catch more because holy shit, how fucking it was a fucking shit show.
Oof. Let me tell you, the Rob Noor v. Dylan Burns thing was also a shit show.
Oh, was it really?
Oh yeah. I was there for like the second.
I saw Rob Noor.
I was there for the second half of it. Like it was Rob Noor trying to get Dylan Burns on his supposed hypocrisy, when in fact like Dylan Burns was just being internally consistent, saying that he agrees with like doing X and Y, meaning the social distancing and masks, but he doesn't necessarily agree with the large gatherings outside being like codified into law. And Rob Noor was trying to say that he's a hypocrite because the gym owner didn't follow anything. They didn't really social distance. They didn't do masks, and they were inside, and they were allowing like 84,000, I believe, a month to pass through.
Oh yeah, I saw that that tweet.
And he was saying that that Dylan Burns calling him a dumbass for doing that was hypocritical, even though it was consistent with Dylan Burns's standards. And that was basically the entire debate.
I messaged Rob Noor to see if I could get a debate with him. He never responded though.
Yeah, I think your best bet would be trying to call him out on like when he streams, if I'm honest. or like
really?
just like tweeting under him. But I haven't seen the Mr. Geek v Rob Noor thing. Though I did make a contribution to the Dylan Burns debate on accident because I didn't know it was just like I thought it was like an open panel type thing, but you get to hear my lovely voice like midway through and then never hear it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Pussies.
Oh, this is
right
fucking
here,
hilarious. This is rewind it like 10 seconds.
I'm literally talking to you right now.
This shit's fucking hilarious.
Like right below the source that I linked.
Fucking pussies.
They banned him from chat.
I'm right here, man.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
yeah, I remember this. And I was just like, I'm just gonna let it slide.
Right now.
Shit, and
I wasn't
right here.
gonna.
I'm fucking here.
I know you're right there. And I'm talking to you. Where's that source, buddy?
And then
I already posted it.
And then this is where like
Discord.
I think Maffinity and Lady Rain kind of like were fighting over like the ReDNeQ ban. Yeah, which I was like it was like Maffinity, like what are you doing? This is like after the debate, like we were all in chat. I was
we should talk a little bit more about that off stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like for sure that was kind of a shit show for like absolute sure.
Yeah, at that point I probably could have stepped in a bit and said like, hey, like chill out. But
I mean, he's a child, like literal child.
Right. Yeah.
So
we should talk about this off stream.
Yeah. Sorry.
So even the mayor of Minneapolis said people were coming in during that time, and they were BLM and ANTIFA coming in from all states, right?
Questionable source,
right?
A questionable source exhibits one or more of the following: extreme bias, consistent promotion of propaganda, conspiracies, poor.
I would have brought this up after like debunking the source
Overall,
itself a bit.
PJ Media to be questionable based on extreme right-wing
and
bias,
like debunking the contents of the
propaganda and conspiracy.
God damn it!
Oh yeah.
Where? Okay, hold on. Now I lost where I was at.
Extreme.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it was right here. But yeah, I would have probably gone into the contents of it and said like, "Hey, this is from Minnesota, not Kenosha," and then it talk about how it made no mention of busing people in, but rather it was like the arrests, and then you go into debunking the entire news media site. But other way, this was still valid.
I didn't know like how far I should go into that. While like I didn't know how much of it was going to be worth like spending the time on that or not.
Thank
so
you,
that's
Mecco
kind
Squish,
of
for the follow.
The decision I was making at the time.
I mean, you can only do so much when you're like getting these sources on the spot. But I think it would have been worthwhile to, if you're going to put the time into looking it up and debunking the source, I think you could have gone into the claims as well.
Yeah.
Real insomniars.
How's it going, Mecco?
Extreme promotion of propaganda and conspiracies, as well as numerous failed fact checks. Do you have something from like the New York Times or some like actually reputable source?
For fuck's sakes!
Especially when he's making a claim like people are getting bussed in.
From local here where I live.
PJ Media.
That's not good enough. You want me to go to the national?
Is an American online media company and operator of conservatives' new. This is not a fucking local news source. Fucking lying. On stream.
You fucking measly little liar, dude.
Fact check up. Holy shit. I can't fucking believe that shit.
The what? You have a fact check thing to check it?
Yes, there's a website that is a fucking
you can live check. You can fact check me live.
Oh, okay.
No!
Oh no! You can fact check me. Oh no! I never considered being fact checked. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm asking, they exist? They exist? Nonpartisan?
And then he walks back and says, "Oh, like it's biased."
There are places that will take news sources like this and they will grade them based off of the factual data that they put out and the language that they use. This website is widely considered to be one of the greatest resources for seeing whether a media source is biased and factual, used by both the left and the right. It doesn't grade CNN as like a least biased source. It says it's left-leaning and that it has mostly factual information, but sometimes they get it wrong. They reasonably critique every single news source that they have on here. So yes, this is something that is non-biased and is an actual fucking resource for people to use. Maybe you should use it before linking fucking PJ Media to me, some fucking extreme right-wing like propaganda like conspiracy mongering place. Yeah, maybe that's something you should look into.
It's the mayor's fucking quote, and he even linked the fucking video from CBS.
Just because they quote a mayor from another article doesn't mean that that website isn't in any way credible. Do you not understand that?
There, I would have probably talked about the specific quote and what it was arguing for, or what it was talking about, which would have been the arrests made in Minnesota were all out of state, and then distinguishing that from the busing situation. But I'm reiterating myself. I think I went over this like a few times already.
Wait, do you not understand that?
And of course, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, I can't use the mayor's own words talking about the riots.
If they're used out of context, no, you can't. You have to give the full context, and that's something that a place like this will not give. You have to actually give a reasonable
did you
fucking
read the article,
source.
See where they highlighted the actual mayor's quotes, but you didn't do that, did you? It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
God, that smug motherfucker.
It's amazing, dude.
I know. He thinks that he's getting a dunk.
Playing Antifa while bitching about Proud Boys.
Again,
same shit. Same fucking shit.
It's a very weak
the
dunk.
most insufferable fucking person because you cannot engage with anything that I just said about the fucking leading and the fucking bias that the website you gave. You can't give me a reasonable source. You're just gonna fall back onto the fact that they use a quote.
Every source is if every source has to
every source is going to have some kind of
the words from the mayor himself.
God, you don't understand the context? Like, aren't you the kind of person that thinks that there's a context behind everything and that you can misrepresent someone's fucking words?
If the mayor says people were being bussed in,
oh my God, you can't even engage with that. You're just gonna read
the mayor never said that they were bussed in.
Engage with it.
I'm asking you. You're saying that there's no proof, and then I link you and show you the quote from the mayor
from a fucking propaganda website, dude. Yes, I'm not gonna fucking take that.
And where the quote was, everyone was arrested.
Yeah, from out of town. It doesn't mean that they were.
Wow.
Busted.
I'm gonna take something that actually has some journalistic integrity.
And the fact he just doubles down on that too.
Consequences if they're journalists fucking
and he never explains the context behind it either.
I'm gonna choose someplace like that over
asks
whatever
to play it.
fuck like dumb fuck news source this is. Because yeah, I could just tomorrow say I'm a journalist and start going out and writing up my own conspiracy theories about how all Republicans are actually like a bunch of toads in a skin suit. But you know what? That wouldn't make me a factual news source. Just like PJ Media is not a factual news source.
I'm glad that one of your own party people actually just posted the actual link from the video from the fucking mayor saying it and saying people were actually from fucking out of state that were arrested. So
the Mott and Bailey.
Wait, see, you cocksucker.
He completed the Mott and Bailey.
Yep.
God. It's like, it was they're being bussed out of state, and then it's like, they're everyone that was arrested was from out of state. Like, God.
Your little delusional shit.
Hold on.
I told you to
and
watch
he thinks this is a gotcha too. That's the worst part about it
but
too.
No, you want to fucking just do your little charade and say, they motherfucker don't have nothing from New York Times or somebody. You're so full of shit, dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm insufferable. You motherfuckers don't want to
hold on. Just because every single hold on. Just because every person this isn't even from Kenosha, you dumb shut.
You actually did bring it up.
And really quick, yeah, I was going to bring it up, and then I realized it wasn't fucking Kenosha.
Handle one thing.
Yeah. Oof.
Damn, I should have finished that fucking sentence. Jesus Christ, that would have made the point so much fucking stronger. But I just wasn't thinking about it. Because like I know that I realized it at the time, and I was waiting for me to bring it up. I guess you realize that just because everyone was, wait a second. I see. What I really need to start doing is writing down every single claim that someone says. I'm just like not. I don't get enough
Destiny
debates anymore.
Thing?
Yeah, the Destiny notepad. because I don't get enough debates at this point anymore to actually practice what I'm doing. I guess because I've scared away all of the brave people from chat. So
you're still. I think you're still small enough to where you get the occasional dumbass in chat.
perhaps.
I
hope
think
so.
part of it is like chat harassment. I think people like me could probably like back out a little bit and just be like, hey man, if you want to like talk about this, just hop on, instead of just like bullying them out of existence for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like.
Yeah, no, but for sure, like I definitely should be writing down the individual points that are being said, because holy shit, this is just hard to fully like I'll never know how well, like how good I am at debating until I can sit there and actually engage with all the points. And I guess that is part of being good at debating, is being able to address every single point, but
Or at least addressing as many as you can, and then going at them when they
Mhm.
make a big mistake.
Taking a fucking time. Now you want to change the goalpost again when I said, look, there's.
You're the one that's.
I lived in Wisconsin. They were saying it. 45 minutes from Minneapolis, St. Paul. So
it's kind of funny how he's like, oh, you're moving the goalpost when you only kind of did that once, but he's been doing it this whole entire debate with the Mott and Baileys.
Oh, yeah, what did I say with the moving the goalpost right here?
Hold on, let me see. I think it was ReDNeQ saying that
I'm showing you proof they were busted on riots and fucking. Oh, that's not good enough though.
No, hold on. You do realize. Hold on. You do realize that saying that people arrested in a city just because they were out of state doesn't mean they were bussed in. They could have just went there by themselves, right? You do realize that there's a difference between bussing people in and having to organize that, and there's usually some way to trace that back rather than people just like all going there to support it. No, do you not understand that? Do you really not understand that? Are you not?
I'm gonna let you live in your fucking white liberal world because.
And then he resorts back to the name calling when he can't debate a point either.
Identity politics. Identity politics.
When you fail an argument, just resort to identity politics. And then seeing the tweets that he made post debate about using Malcolm X quotes was super rich too.
Yeah, no, like people like fucking jumped on him on Twitter for that, because in the post debate Twitter meltdown that he had, he kept on quoting Malcolm X and posting Malcolm X pictures and shit, and people were like, I don't think you understand who you're quoting here.
Yeah, because Malcolm X was once a black nationalist, and then he walked back on that. And I don't know if I know there's some of the quotes that he didn't endorse that he rejected later, but yeah, no, like him just quoting him out of the blue, thinking, "Oh, this is a good dunk," is quite rich. It shows his blatant ignorance and his just willingness to act like, "Oh, I'm not racist. There's this black guy that quotes that endorses my supposed position, or like, here's my black family or my black friend," which is it's kind of hilarious. It's almost like he's convincing himself that he's not racist.
Here's my thing on ReDNeQ. I think that just the immediate jump for me to say you're racist was probably out of line. I probably should have laid out better reasons or explained my reasoning better. Because I mean, I think that he truly does care about the African American community, like given his background. I can give him that, right? He like grew up in an area like near where I live currently, and like was running around and doing gang activity and shit. In like the like segregated, like still segregated side of town. So, I think that he is a useful idiot for the right.
It's the
Which,
original,
like, you know what useful idiot is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think that he thinks that the white liberal, because they haven't done enough, is actively working against African Americans, whereas I don't know what the fuck he thinks the Republicans have done, but yeah, I think his heart is in the right place, but he's too fucking stupid to realize that he's fighting against the side that he wants to help represent.
Right, and that's where I come to the point where it's like you could say that he's making racist talking points, without necessarily calling him out as a racist at that point.
Yeah, it's probably something that I should like if I get into another discussion with him, I should probably walk that back and apologize for that. But explain to him that doesn't change the statements that you're making are still consequentially like
right.
enacting like advocating racism, you know. So
And Samantha, I did see that the good part of the latest conversation between Sondsol and ReDNeQ on the Republican Nation. I think it was
oh,
kind of like
Samantha's here.
Yeah, she's in here.
How's it going?
But yeah, I think that would probably be a good thing, at least to at least try to make amends and try to have a better discussion on it.
No, and I really appreciate Samantha in the conversation today. I really wasn't expecting or wanting to jump into that conversation, if I'm totally honest. But I did because I didn't want to be seen as pussying out or anything. Um, I just wanted to meme about Spartans and their love life because it was really making the Proud Boy mad when I was saying that the I said something along the
Mark.
lines of yeah,
Yeah.
I said something along the lines of yeah, the way that Spartans got their sword is it like when you fuck a dude you finally get your sword. And he's like that's not true. And really the thing that they prized the most was their shield. I was like, "Oh, well, that's because like, you know, that's the step before that, you know." You
Yeah.
get your shield when you like get down on your knees and like completely go gawk on someone's cock. So
the manliest thing is gay sex. Like, come on, now. It's two men getting off, having a good time.
yeah,
Like, come on.
when you finally kill a man in combat, then you get to choose choose a selection of femboys for your as concubines. So he
Yes.
really didn't like that for some reason. It's really wild how defensive they get about cultures they know nothing about.
It's like they're reject modernity, embrace tradition. It's like, oh, so you endorse gay sex? Like, no.
Deep throat it, motherfucker. Get down on the knees,
When
buddy.
in reality, they endorse a straw man of what they see as tradition. They actually they conflate like the Spartans with Middle Ages England and all
Mhm.
that, and I guess
And
broader
John
Europe as well.
Clementine, even if Spartans didn't actually fuck dudes, even if that's true, doesn't matter. It's still funny.
That is true.
See, I don't care. They do. All right. So that's all I care
I
about
think it
that.
would help if they're factually correct. Actually, hold on.
I mean, the Greeks were super into butt fucking. Like that is
But I
like
think
the
aren't the Spartans Roman? Or am I? Yeah, I think the Spartans are Roman, and I
no,
believe
they're Greek.
that really. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
north of Athens,
yeah, okay.
or I believe
Yeah,
north of
the
across
Spartan
some
tradition of
mountain.
military heroism has also been explained in light of strong emotional bonds resulting from homosexual relationships. Let's see here if I go to that source. The Western way of war. Anyways, this is
Which way, Western man?
true. Like sex was supposed to be looked down upon in Spartan society. I'd probably need a source on that. I'm actually not
Oh, is it
too.
south? I thought they were up north. It doesn't matter. Literally, this doesn't matter. It's just fun to meme on people.
Right, right.
Power off. Go ahead, run away if you can't fucking actually engage with what the fuck I just said. If you're gonna fucking run away,
engage? You're fucking being stupid at this point.
What? Tell me why.
He says this when he either pulls a Mott and Bailey argument or he just walks away from arguments to make a new one or restate a previous one that was debunked. Like in the past like 27 minutes, he's walked away from at least like 4 different arguments.
You're ANTIFA. I'm not defending Proud Boys. I only told you that you're fucking being a stupid ass hypocrite.
I'm saying that you are implicitly defending Proud Boys when you sit there and you say, "Oh, well, they're actually exactly the same." When the Proud Boys are engaging with a targeted harassment campaign against Black Americans in D.C.
What? You even said it yourself.
What?
You said it yourself. Proud Boys wouldn't exist if ANTIFA wasn't so fucking out there. That's why Proud Boys
What the fuck are you talking? The Proud Boys.
That claim from ReDNeQ I don't think is well substantiated.
Sorry, say that again. I'm also researching cameras at the same time.
The whole point of like the Proud Boys being born out of like Antifa violence is not necessarily true.
Oh no, but I mean, like it's not true at all. Antifa's been around since the time of like Nazi Germany, right?
Literally.
The Proud Boys are a reaction to all sorts of like left-leaning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't researched this enough yet, but I know like Demon Mama has like a resource doc on the Proud Boys that's well cited. I just really need to look into it a bit more, but the Proud Boys are they're not there to just react to Antifa. There's a reason why they're a general hate group and not a Antifa hate group.
Yeah. Well, I think they're a generalized hate group. They just hate anything that's like left of Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. We had to read about the Spartan Constitution, and part of it was men should feel shame exiting their women's bedchamber or some shit like that. I have no idea about that claim. I don't know enough about Spartan culture or Greek culture by that extent to make a claim on that.
Get the fuck out of here.
The Proud Boys existed before Antifa made their big.
I know they existed before, but they turned into an Antifa fighting gang.
Be quiet. Hold on, shut. Listen,
Jesus Christ.
The first time that Antifa became like a big talking point in the news was during the Unite the Right rally, which a lot of Proud Boys went and showed up to. That was the first time that they made like a huge news story because they were just as bad as the Nazis that were at the fucking.
No, Antifa's gotten news presence during Obama's administration, I believe, as well.
Did they really?
I think so. Hold on.
Well, I mean, when like as far as like my argument goes, is that's when they got like huge, like national attention.
Yeah, no, there was like there was like Antifa during Obama and.
Oh, I mean,
yeah, hold on.
I mean, they've been there for a long time, but.
I'm not sure about that. I think I just like remember something at some point about Antifa during Obama's administration, but it's super fuzzy to me because this is like probably like late middle school, early like high school for me, which is like years ago. So.
Charlotte.
Fuck. I did it again.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about Antifa in the first place. But that like I don't care as much about. I don't even know if it's something that is a whataboutism when we're talking about the Proud Boys. Like, what are we going to be talking about? Are we going to be talking about Proud Boys, or are we going to be upsetty spaghetti that there's two groups that are both doing some kind of violence, like, and even at that, which one is the group that is actively going out of their way to proactively find places to go beat the shit out of people? And Samantha Banana told me that like Black Bloc does do that. I mean, I need to do research on this because that goes against everything that I've ever heard from other members that have engaged in that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel.
I also need to look up the Black Bloc as well. So like personally, I don't have any idea. I'd probably just need to look into stuff and then come out with my own conclusion, talk with other people, etc., etc.
Really not understand that. really not understand that? Are you not?
I'm gonna let you live in your fucking white liberal world because
yeah. Go ahead and engage with what the fuck I just
defending Antifa. I'm not defending Proud Boys. I only told.
Sit there and you say, oh, well, they're actually exactly the same, when the Proud Boys are engaging with a targeted harassment campaign against black Americans in D.C.
What? You even said it yourself.
What?
You said it yourself. Proud Boys wouldn't exist if Antifa wasn't so fucking out there. That's why
What the fuck are you talking about? The Proud Boys.
Get the fuck out of here with this
bullshit. The Proud Boys existed before Antifa made their big.
I know they existed before, but they turned into an Antifa fighting gang.
Be quiet. Hold on. Shut. Listen.
Jesus Christ.
The first time that Antifa became like a big talking point in the news was during the Unite the Right rally, which a lot of Proud Boys went and showed up to. That was the first time that they made like a huge news story because they were just.
I will agree that they did get a lot more news attention after Charlottesville. I think that's like a valid point. That part was wrong.
Yeah, I'm just talking about Samantha. I'm just talking about like in terms of like the Antifa is out to. Oh, did they make big news at Berkeley? But were they identified as Antifa or were they identified as student protesters?
Yeah, black-clad Antifa members attacked peaceful right-wing demonstrators at
okay.
Washington Post. Okay, yeah. All right then. Oh yeah, this is the Milo Yiannopoulos stuff. I believe she did mention that earlier at the.
Yeah. She talked about that.
Yeah, Samantha, I should really talk to you about that. I think that was me. You're Antifa. You were all of Antifa at that point. Ex-fascist.
I am ex-fascist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think later on, like either off stream or like on another stream, like I would definitely want to know like what went down at Berkeley. I don't think I remember a lot about it. Probably because I wasn't as politically engaged as I am now, but I was actually there with and in support of and helping Antifa. All right. Yeah, no, I'd like to hear like what happened there, like from your perspective, just so I can have a better idea of what happened there. I think that would be a good thing to go into.
Just as bad as the Nazis that were at the fucking Charlottesville riots, right? No, you're so wrong. Proud Boys didn't come around as a result of Antifa. Antifa started coming out because Proud Boys and neo-Nazis and fucking far-right militias started coming out and fucking fighting black people at every single fucking protest, fucking doing everything they could to fight against progressivism. You are in the wrong.
Antifa
you don't know anything about
the black race. Is that what you're telling me?
Where did I say that? Where did I say that?
Yet another straw man that he makes. About the whole Antifa thing, I would phrase it a bit better by saying that Antifa usually shows up when they're sort of counter protesting against like fascist or like I guess more authoritarian measures, like the police and all that. And typically they come there as a response to something, not as like a proactive thing, usually.
Yeah, like and that's kind of the distinction I make when I look at this is there's the one group going like into Washington to start fights about some ephemeral idea about the election being stolen but there's no evidence that's come out yet, but there's going to be evidence and we're going to start shit with everybody, and this is in our community that we're going into, and we're from all over the United States, and we're going to start chanting "Whose streets, our streets," right? So that's one group, and then the other group might come in from like all over a city. I mean, there might be one from like outside the city, but it's not like this like 600 fucking like member horde, this fucking locust swarm of motherfuckers coming in just like on some generalized claim of something that can't be substantiated, right? That's the distinction that I would make.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Charlottesville wasn't a BLM. Hold on, shut the fuck up. BLM had nothing to do with Charlottesville. They were going there to counter protest against a fucking white nationalist Nazi fucking collection of people. That had nothing to do with black people. Explain that. If Antifa, if I'm trying to say that Antifa is some sort. Why is Antifa a part of it? Because they
why is it? Hang on.
Antifa
Let me finish my
go for it, man.
Why is it every time BLM throws a protest, then that night Antifa's out there fucking looting and rioting? Why does that happen?
Hey, number one, source, because that's not necessarily true of everything.
There might be some true of everything.
Yeah.
Sean Clementine, I thought a lot of people came out of state in Kenosha. I think that would probably be a fair statement. Personally, I don't know if that was exactly the case.
I didn't hear as much about Antifa in Kenosha as I did about like when it came to just like the rioting. Most of the news coverage was just about like generalized rioters. The only people I heard talking about Antifa in Kenosha was like right wingers who were mad that people might get well, even before that. But I might be misremembering, but from my impression of the whole situation.
Man, I think most of the coverage that came out of Kenosha was related around the Kyle Rittenhouse and the events that transpired down there. Or really up there. Geographically.
Because when I was in the BLM protest at Houston, when it started getting violent, guess who started the violence? The police, and everyone fucking dispersed. I didn't see fucking Antifa. I didn't see people in fucking like anarcho-communist flags out there. No, it was just a bunch.
Kenosha was the shooting with Kyle, right? Yep, that is true. It might have not have been Antifa, could have been BLM sympathizers, some homies. Yeah, probably. But yeah, no, like a lot of the thing is like a lot of the riots that happened didn't really start with like the BLM or Antifa just wanting to like start shit. Like it is usually like third parties that will like incite a riot. And this has been the case with riots like throughout history. I know there's the Attica, I know like the Attica prison riot. I've like read about it. Like the material conditions that were in that riot, that prison were pretty bad, like low pay, like shit conditions. And then police like cracking down on prisoners like wanting better stuff caused them to riot and then take over prison. Like usually has to be an inciting event that causes like a riot or a protest to happen. They don't just like materialize out of nowhere because oh lol, it would be funny to riot here with other people. I wouldn't say that isn't a like that never happens, but it is a minority of the cases, in my opinion. Yes, Kevin Rittenhouse, Sean Clementine, totally.
Bunch of fucking people who were sitting around in a fucking commons area called I can't remember the name, Green something. In the middle of Houston, and then cops started fucking firing tear gas and rubber bullets at people, telling them to get the fuck out of downtown. So tell me, is it Antifa that's starting the fucking violence? I didn't see a goddamn person out there that I would even associate with Antifa. And I know that's a little bit of
Who's that fucking laugh?
But everything you've shown at me is oh yeah. And you keep on implicitly endorsing the fucking Proud Boys because they're just as bad.
I think Antifa starts shit and expects right-wing militias and left-wing militias to fight it out. Source.
Or well, hold on. What did you? Who
thinks? KGN BLT.
Yeah, when it comes to like left-wing militias, I would have to like hear what the left-wing militia is because I've never heard of these like. Well, I mean, I guess I've heard of left-wing militias, but they're not nearly as prevalent in the U.S. as right-wing militias, and they're certainly like
especially
not
now,
going out of their way to. Yeah, they're not going out of their way to go to these protests. I mean, Antifa will. Like, I won't fight you on that, but you know,
they don't go there to start shit. And the U.S. government has done a lot to crack down on left-wing militias, like the Black Panther Party, which they weren't just a militia, but they were also like a mutual aid group as well. Like they provided like meals for kids, and they actually started the whole like lunch program for kids at schools by providing kids lunch during school. Or not the Black Panther Party, the Black Panthers. My bad. That was like I was misspeaking on that. You're confusing with new Black Panther Party, really?
Well, the old Black Panther Party also did mutual aid stuff.
Right. I thought the old Black Panther Party started the lunch program.
Yeah, no, they had this. The one story, and granted, like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. The one story I know about the
breakfast program.
Yeah, the breakfast program where they started in, I believe, Chicago or some Midwestern city,
right.
And the police like broke into the facility overnight and like pissed and shitted all over the food that was for the children to eat in the morning. I don't remember the broader context. Oh, it's literally just called the New Black Panther Party? Okay.
Right. A classic left-wing militia, the NFAC. I don't know about the NFAC.
Oh, I've heard of them, but I don't know. Like, again, I don't know much about this. I'm
Not
fairly
fucking around coalition.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of them actually. This is interesting.
Yeah, no, they showed up in Georgia, I believe, earlier this year.
Right, they're black. Oh, they're black nationalists. Interesting. They shot themselves literally. Actually, what am I doing? I have this. Is a
Even if the INFAC are fucking morons, I will say that's a cool fucking name though.
Right. In their own words, our lessons talk about the bloodsuckers of the poor. It's that old no good Jew, that old imposter Jew, that oh. Huh. Interesting. Kill every goddamn Zionist in Israel. That is... Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have a big fat issue there. That's a lot of loaded language, for sure. It was Louisville, Kentucky, where they showed up for Breonna Taylor. Sure, yeah. I don't really have much to comment on that because I just now heard of the Not Fucking Around Coalition. Honestly, that's a great name.
That is Antifa when they're specifically going out of their way to harass black people.
I'm telling you right now, you are so fucking hypocritically full of shit.
You can't do it. You have no arguments. All you can say is hypocrite.
Oh my god, 1 second. And one thing that I keep on getting so fucking what these people will do, ReDNeQ, Rob Noor, right? The people, the other like dumb fucks that were in the group call today, what they'll do is they'll vaguely gesture to hypocrisy, right? And they'll talk about how hypocritical it is while not actually putting forward an argument, right? Hypocrisy in and of itself is not an argument. 1 second, my cat's going fucking wild on the desk here. 1 sec.
Sure
You
thing.
want that water? There you go.
KG BLT, I'm gonna need a source on the he came to my city and threatened to burn us and burn the city down. I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily say that that's false. This is the first time I've heard of it, and I'd like to know about it. So if you can provide that information, that'd be much obliged. Because this would be interesting. I just want to learn about this. Because it's the first time I've heard about NFAC, and I just want to know what the context is behind the statement that you're making.
It's not an argument. You realize that, right?
No, it is an argument.
Vaguely gestures at hypocrisy.
Vaguely to hypocrisy. It's not a fucking argument.
Bro, you literally said that fucking organization, never does anything wrong. They're only trying to do
I didn't say that. You are putting words in my mouth.
You said Antifa is doing good for the fucking BLM movement. You were saying that's what is needed, and that's what they did in the 60s. And the fucking white racists were the ones that said violence is not the answer.
I don't even know if Antifa was involved in the 60s, number one. And again, like, there are things that, like, I was trying to tread lightly because I was kind of worried about TOS. So I feel like if I were to like super put out what my beliefs are on some things, I feel like it might be TOS bait, you know?
Right.
Speaking of TOS, while you're looking at that website, earlier today, me and my yeah, no, Samantha, we were talking about that earlier. When it comes to like 2 issues, I get like unironically triggered and just like immediately get angry. Like I really need to work on that. Because I want to be able to engage with it and have the conversation. But when it comes to like Proud Boy or fucking any kind of like when Candace Owens made the video about, um George Floyd had fentanyl in his system, therefore he deserved to die, I immediately get so fucking mad because it's the same argument I've been seeing since I was in high school with Trayvon Martin. I get so fucking angry about that shit. And then the other one is like mass shootings and like the dumb fuck arguments. Like I've had arguments. Why? Yeah, no, exactly. I know that I should be able to take that uh and like mentally prepare like 1000%. And if I knew that I was going to have this debate, I probably would have been able to do that a little bit better. But yeah, it's that and like the mass shooting conversations. But I mean, the only person that I've had a conversation where it's someone that is pro gun about mass shootings has been Samantha. So I will say, hey, maybe we can practice. Maybe we can do like a whole segment on stream where
A whole mock debate.
a whole mock debate about some issue.
You don't have to
But
be
you can
ready to have an easy
cosplay.
debate.
You can cosplay as
you
one.
could play devil's advocate. I think
You just have to put on a shirt that has like a wolf howling to the moon and
let me in.
just put on a shirt with a wolf howling to the moon and a MAGA hat. So and there you go.
All right, I'm gonna let Maffinity in on this too.
Yeah, I have no idea why anyone thinks you're a fascist, Samantha. I need you to tell me who the fuck that is because that's fucking really wild.
Yeah, who thinks you're a fascist? I don't actually think that.
I mean, sometimes you make edgy jokes that I can't endorse on stream, but that I do think are pretty funny.
Let me send you the link, Maffinity.
Left Flank Vets? I've never even heard of them.
Wait, Left Flank Vets called you a fascist?
Am I the only person that doesn't know about this person?
There's a 3-hour stream where 2 hours of them is calling me stolen valor. That sounds really bad. I never actually heard of that. I've only heard like positive things about Left Flank, so that's news.
Oh wow, they're pretty big.
Yeah, Left Flank is a pretty sizable channel.
Candace Owens would never outright say that George Floyd deserved to die, but it's fairly reasonable to assume what she means when she says that. He was no angel. He was doing fentanyl, guys. He was doing fentanyl. Like, why are we making this man a martyr? Like, yeah, it's pretty obvious what her actual intent is. So.
They threatened Prime that if they let me on and platform a Nazi, they will never work with him. What the
fuck?
Jesus.
Okay.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Sondsol, because you have contacts, you should probably talk to Left Flank Vets about that, because that's very sketch.
That's a very hot take. Yeah.
Samantha just strikes me as like an edgy libertarian, not like fascist
and a funny one at that.
I don't.
Mean, there are some quote unquote edgy libertarians that are actually, but I don't think.
Not to that extent.
But that's because they actually like do that so often that their views are just concordant with the fascists. But I don't think Samantha is that. George Floyd was no angel. I think you're misinformed on what she means. The fact that she was just criticizing him on his previous behavior without providing any context on how that reflects the situation itself.
Fucking relevant.
Yeah, like none of the points she made was relevant. Like even if it was like a dude who like mass murdered like an orphanage, and had the cop put the knee on the neck, I would have said, yeah, no, that's bad. You don't extrajudicially kill someone, and you don't put your knee on their neck to restrain them. There are literally way better ways to restrain them.
I mean, what do we know? We're just all growing up in the Democratic plantation, so what do we know about this?
But you know, if you want to, KG and BLT, if you want to have like a quick conversation after this, feel free to like join the Discord, and I can do a quick talk.
I can hang out for like 10, 15 more minutes.
All right, let's try to get through the rest of this as much as possible.
That's why MLK violence was not the answer. Malcolm X is the one that said violence is the only way we're going to be able to get to it, and he also said that white liberals will be the devil to us, right? He also said that, but I don't know the context, right? I'm an old Uncle Ruckus type of motherfucker. You don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, do you? Or are you cultured enough to know who Uncle Ruckus is?
I know.
He calls himself Uncle Ruckus. Like, what is his point there?
Because I hear you.
Hey, hold the fuck.
Okay, KG and BLT, like hold your shit and just like get in the Discord and we can talk about this. All right, I want to get this done real quick because I've already been going at this for upwards of 2 hours.
Fuck up. Hold the fuck up. You are misrepresenting history. You're misrepresenting history right now because you have no idea. No, because if you listen to actually what the fuck Martin Luther King said, he said that a right is the language of the unheard. And as long as the conditions that put black people in these situations continue to persist in the U.S., there will continue to be riots. He didn't say that, all these rioters are like horrible, evil people.
He believed in non-violent forms of protest.
That was in the protest that he organized. Yeah, he would do the non-violent, but he didn't say that the people that were rioting were fucking evil, fucking anti-fascist, fucking thugs and criminals that are trying to make sure that black people don't get rights.
Are you telling me they're the same or not? Are you telling me they're the same?
What?
Because I didn't say anything about BLM.
I'm saying there is a similarity in your language. There's similarity in your language to the language of the past, right? And what you're saying is that Martin Luther King was completely condemned all forms of violence when he.
KG and BLT, just make a Discord account real quick. It takes like 5 minutes. You can even delete it after if you want. It'd be much easier to talk to you there than through chat.
Explicitly said, I understand like a motherfucker. 1 second, I'm gonna open a window because it's fucking hot as shit in this room.
Fuck you and
hold on.
LARPing fucking
Molotov cocktails and they're fucking destroying.
Yeah, I'm also gonna turn
everybody who has ever looked into the group
speed to 1.25.
Yeah, go for it.
Hello? Really?
Oops.
There we go.
Hold on, it was like 33 something.
Oh, okay.
Then you said 1.25?
Yeah, I've already done it.
Oh.
That's what reset it back.
Oh, okay, hold on. There we go.
I don't think.
Come on.
Was on the other hand saying, no, we're going to have to fucking arm and we're going to have to stand up.
Yeah.
We're going to have to push back.
You do realize there's a difference between saying nobody should be rioting whatsoever and anyone that riots is a piece of shit and saying, I understand why people are rioting.
I didn't do that though. I didn't say that.
That's why I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
You're comparing Antifa. I'm asking you. Is Antifa and BLM the same or are they different?
They are different. At the same time, you're of the mind. Hold on. You are of the mind that Antifa is just like bussing people in and like charging into cities and like throwing Molotov cocktails into every store that they see. Where it's like not like that. Why did the people in fucking Minneapolis riot the first night? Do you think that Antifa just like fucking sprung to that night and started fucking burning shit down? No, exactly. No. So BLM has also engaged in some sort of vandalism and property damage, right?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. You're the one telling me.
Okay, so again, I don't think that Antifa is the ones that are going around just like fucking destroying everything, because that is the narrative that you're being fed, right? I'm also being fed narratives.
The narrative
I go out of my way. But hold on. I go out of my way to see what the other side is saying. I think I have a little bit more of a nuanced position than Riot's good, Proud Boys bad. I have a little bit more of a nuanced
What do you
position.
mean? Riot's good, Proud Boys are bad.
There are
in Minecraft.
No. There are people.
So why are you projecting it? And that's what this whole fucking yelling match is because
I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about myself. I'm saying that there are lefties. There are lefties that say that all rioting is good, right? I don't think that. I think that there's a little bit of room for nuance there, right? But you are the one that's projecting onto me and projecting onto an entire
negative soldier. Nope, negative. I'm telling you, your comment was blatantly hiding the same violence that I told you earlier. They both are committing violence.
ReDNeQ is just projecting and
Antifa is
imposing an argument.
That's what they do.
That is literally There's black bloc and there's Antifa. No, hold on.
This is where I got the black bloc thing wrong.
Are you fucking out of your mind? There's two different segments of Antifa that everybody who has ever looked into the group, which you obviously haven't, because you would otherwise you would know what black bloc.
You want to talk about black bloc?
Yeah, so black bloc is the one.
Obviously, I didn't look into it good enough.
Because they're wearing all black clothes. You dumb fuck.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Black bloc is when.
Yeah, you're trying to get all sorts of gotchas. You fucking so. There's black bloc who think that you have to engage in violence, and then there's Antifa, like the broader idea of Antifa, where a lot of fucking college kids for fucking decades have been getting together and like engaging in mutual aid and getting like food together and giving it to homeless people. Like there are lots of people that talk about their engagements with Antifa for decades before the fucking narrative of they're just like fucking anarchists that are walking around with fucking Molotov cocktails and they're fucking destroying everything and they're trying to kill black people because they're trying to implicitly like make sure that they can take over the U.S. without the black people's like what the fuck? I don't understand why you can't separate these different things. Why you can't think of like the historical context of things. Why you can't like actually think for yourself.
Because
all you can see is like Twitter headlines.
You should say, oh, Antifa's good, black bloc is bad. They're the bad segment of Antifa.
I don't even think that I think that.
So you just named an organization and separated it out into two parts. There's the peaceful protesting Antifa, and then there's the fucking elitist, leftist, crazy, LARPing fucking tankies.
And the fact that he's just like going straight, he's just hyper fixated on the violence too of Antifa, and that's all that he's been focused on this whole time.
God,
it's so annoying.
His entire point is drawing a 1-for-1 comparison between these two groups, and in the future, when I'm having conversations like this, I'm going to try and stick to that point instead of all these like tangential things like bussing people in and you know all this other bullshit.
Right, and not only that, it's just the fact that he keeps trying to do the 1-for-1, and literally his only argument is both sides do violence, therefore both sides are bad.
Yep.
That 100%. That's his baseline argument, and even then, it's just like he doesn't even know why. He just sees violence and he just screams bad. And then he plays enlightened centrist.
Even if the regular Antifa was out there peacefully protests and Proud Boys fucking charged them, do you think that it would be unreasonable for them to fucking defend themselves? Or do you think that the things that like maybe Dylan Burns, who by the way, just rated, thank you buddy, like Dylan Burns, who got charged by fucking Proud Boys with no provocation, do you think that maybe it's okay if they fucking try to defend themselves? Do you think that all of the violence that is all over the hold on, shut the fuck up, that is all over the fucking country?
You're making up a fucking story.
He got maced.
He didn't get fucking hit or touched.
ReDNeQ, he got maced.
Did he?
He got maced.
He stood still.
They pepper sprayed him. They pepper sprayed him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is pepper spray not fucking assault, you dumb fuck? They were fucking.
You can commit assault
with chat right now.
pepper
He
spray.
said, "I got
1000%.
I remember that part of the story. You obviously didn't listen to the story because you are so.
It wasn't when he was
like an obvious weapon, like
that was later, right?
Like a sword of
no,
Brazil
it was,
or something.
No, it was during their fucking assault on the random fucking protesters, where they came in with bludgeons and at least one person with a fucking knife that stabbed a fucking 5'2" girl in the arm. Fucking
not to mention that the Proud Boys were chasing the
and leaving them concussed, and then trying to fucking flank them while they're.
I just realized I have been into talking this entire time, but I've been on push to talk. God damn.
That's tragic, my dude. Holy cow.
Oh man, I thought you guys were just like ignoring me, and I was like being a shitter. Oh man.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good, man. That's unfortunate.
Antifa and fucking Proud Boys, they're exactly the same. Yeah, fucking smugly laugh. That's a good argument right there,
hilarious.
guy. Your smugness is really helping you in this case.
I've said it. I even said it on stream. I fucking tweeted it. They should take every fucking Antifa and every fucking Proud Boy and stick them in a goddamn match and put pay-per-view on that.
How do you find all of Antifa?
Your takes are so dumb. No, you are stupid. You do not understand what, like, when one...
I'd like to see ReDNeQ try and find all of Antifa.
Some of his takes are so fucking funny, like that one, and then his idea for the border wall is that, you know, we have a bunch of points of entry, and everyone that comes through it is given a social security card, and in order to pay for it, we put branding up on every segment of the wall, like giant billboards, have Nike and Adidas, and have a fucking circus, fucking like bright like gamer lights.
What sort of capitalist hellhole wall is this?
It was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
You pay
it's
for
like a mall.
It's like a mall, but with the wall.
The world's mall. The world's wall.
The world's most militarized and
the mall wall.
God, that's interesting. I'd have to. I need to look into the minutia of how that would work.
Inside is like,
good day, new Americans. Welcome to America. The beacon of opportunity and prosperity will await you soon. Check out Nike for 30% off your next new order. we now sell baby socks at H&M. Make sure you check it out.
Fucking projecting racism on every fucking thing and claiming Antifa's protecting black rights and is only looking out for black rights is full of fucking shit.
Well, not only,
but black
but
person supports Antifa, fuck you and fuck them. And
everyone that supports Antifa, fuck you. So you know, a rejection of anti-fascism.
Supports Proud Boys.
Well, they don't separate the two. Like they have no idea.
Nope.
Why do you assign so much more charitability to the Proud Boys who are going and
I didn't. I said if they're out there hurting anybody and fucking damaging shit, fuck them too.
Wait, no. It is absolutely assigning charitability to them because you're equating these two things. You're acting like they're exact same thing. One quote-unquote organization or like group of people with shared beliefs does mutual aid programs, does community service, and you know is based off of a shared interest of being against fascism. The other one is an organized group that has a distinct leader and propagates white nationalist, Western chauvinism, all that kind of sentiment.
Right.
And his sole purpose is to beat people up, whether it be people who are like causing a ruckus during protests or not.
I'm gonna step away. My cat is crying. I gotta find out why.
Oh no, kitty cat.
But yeah, no. Like one thing I would probably critique here is I think if Sondsol made a better case for like getting ReDNeQ on each individual point about how he's like tacitly supporting the Proud Boys by just continuously shitting on Antifa. I think it would have made this moment that's happening right now a lot stronger.
And trying to draw that false equivalency, pointing that out would have been really good. Because these groups aren't the same.
Exactly, they're completely
like the groups, but one of them is an organized. I don't know. Can we call the Proud Boys an organization? Because like they don't have explicitly a CEO, but they do have like a central leader.
Yeah, they have like a hierarchy of centralized leadership. They have like chapters, dues. I think it's accurate to call
Antifa has chapters. Like there's Rose City. There's like Portland.
But do they have like a central leader of Antifa?
No, it's kind of like the DSA in the way, because the DSA I don't think has a like CEO or official leader, but they have chapters.
Yeah, when it comes to DSA, it's just like chapters and stuff. I don't know if they have. I'm almost certain they don't have like a distinct person in charge.
Yeah, Antifa has chapters. Like I've heard of Rose City. I've heard of like
they do have
Portland,
chapters, but they don't have like a centralized leadership.
Yeah, that would probably be good to explain to people next time. Like that. Yeah.
like Antifa, it's centered on an idea of anti-fascism and combating fascism.
Mm-hmm.
It's that
But
they don't necessarily have like a leader to look up to at the center. They have
mm-hmm.
the individual groups that fight in their own way, really.
But
It's
even more effective.
decentralized.
But even more effective than that, because that is like a semantic explanation of what makes them different. Just like highlighting the actions of, you know, Antifa people and Proud Boys and how they differ, like their causes, just explaining the mutual aid projects and everything, you know, that would be
Well, then they'll just bring up
helpful.
that the Proud Boys did like a Toys for Tots, whatever you call it,
Oh,
charity
really?
drive or some shit, and and then it's all fucking, and it's like on one hand, one group has been doing this for decades, even outside of like running around like looking for people to beat the shit out of, and the other group has a very bad,
Reputation.
reputation for beating the shit out of people, so they're going out and rebranding. I mean, look at all the fucking Proud Boys that are coming onto Twitch now.
Yeah.
Whew, yep, and that's why
Wait,
Twitch is
there's a
cracking
bunch
down
of
on them.
them, not just
Mark.
individual.
I've seen at least 4 running around on panels and stuff. One of them is on
Yikes.
Fucking.
We know one of them.
Well, we know one of them, and then there's the one that's on TRN every single fucking day, all day long. I don't know what the fuck he does with his life when he's not on TRN.
What's TRN?
The Republican Nation.
Oh. Yikes.
Yep. Isn't a certain person that we all know in the with heavy quotation marks love supposed to be thinking about going into Proud Boys?
Oh,
we're talking about CTV.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wasn't gonna like just.
No, fuck him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No,
he can come and fight me on my stream. Fuck him. Fucking, he's a bitch baby. He has not talked to me outside of like Twitter beef because he's scared baby boy.
I backed off on the Twitter beef with him too because he's just gonna like ban people who are negative towards him. So at
I think
that
he'd
point,
play a great role.
No point in trolling him.
I think he'd play a great role inside the Proud Boys, sending all of his boomer memes to maybe calm the hostilities a little bit.
True.
I think CTV could benefit them.
Right. He could be he could pill them on the nuclear Sahara rainforest.
He could boomer pill them.
Anyways, let's finish this up.
I'm not buying for violence, but if you want,
but you think that Antifa is going all over the country and burning everything down, but you don't think that the Proud Boys are going out and fucking actively trying to fight them.
I have not seen the Proud Boys go to any city and just.
Then you're not watching the news.
Yeah,
show me where they've went. Just
literally,
the fact that he's making this position and saying, "Oh, wow, that is an interesting position right there," but but the fact that he's making this position, he's saying, "Oh, I've never seen fucking Proud Boys do anything." Like it's pretty indicative of the media that he consumes. Just a little bit.
1000%, yeah.
Clip that, yes. Yes, someone clip that. I'm pretty sure I have like clips on for everyone.
The phase.
Yep.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna make a screen. I'm gonna make a screenshot real quick.
Yes, it is beautiful.
I'm gonna make that a Discord server emote. Yeah.
Oh, please.
Hang on, let me full screen that shit. Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, in my server,
all right.
I have little commands up to put up the copy pastas. There's currently 2 of them up.
Very cool.
Once I have
I'm gonna go into GIMP now and do that while we're watching this.
All right.
Okay.
I've been playing Watch Dogs though.
Andale Wonder, what's up, fool?
See, a couple of weeks ago, literally DC, last night.
Literally DC.
Literally last night. They were trying to.
Literally last night.
Proud Boys were burning.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We've already been over this point. We've moved on from this point.
It's like 2 a.m. and I'm just like trying to get giggles. So
they were committing arson.
Places has Antifa lit up? How many places has Antifa lit up?
You're so fucking disingenuous, my guy. You're so.
How many places?
Yeah, the framing of the question's disingenuous. There's not.
How many places?
Yeah, how many places, man? Just tell me how much Antifa did. Watch Dogs bad game. True.
What? I don't know. Like I've been playing it. It's not terrible so far. Like I don't know why people had so much of an issue with it. Like,
anyways, back to the hot takes in question.
How many places? Tell me an exact number. Or are you just gonna fucking
10.
vaguely?
At least 10.
Oh,
at least 10.
At least 10. So, in a fucking
to ANTIFA?
huge, like the most massive.
Did they ever provide a source for that by any chance?
I'm sorry. Say again.
Did he ever provide a source on the at least 10 claim that at least 10 ANTIFA buildings?
No, I mean because it's fucking. He just pulled a number out of his ass. Like I wasn't even going to entertain it.
Yep.
Civil rights protest movement in our country's entire history, where millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of people, have gone out into the thing. Like at least 10 buildings have been burned down.
ANTIFA Space Force.
Wow, I think statistically that's pretty okay. It's kind of like if you allow people to drink.
Think about it.
Do you think that drinking
BLM
is okay?
has
Because
an A
like there's
going
to be a certain percentage of people over the
93% of them. Yeah, 93% of them were just protests, no violence.
Pog.
Yeah, see, look at that solid A right there. They're on their way.
Course of a year that drink too much and die. Do you think that that's okay?
Very cool.
No, they should stop drinking.
Okay, so no alcohol for anyone. No one should be able to drink alcohol.
ReDNeQ prohibition, anyone? He's pro-prohibition, man. God, that's interesting. I should ask him about that if I ever talk to him.
If it's gonna make him die, they should know.
But it doesn't kill everybody. It just kills a small segment of the population because they drink too much.
They're gonna die.
We should ban driving too, because that kills people as well.
True. Progressive.
That is right. That's true.
You can't help everybody.
Just bubble wrap everyone.
Can't help everybody.
Oh wait, the bubble wrap might suffocate them. So.
And if you want to get smoke, you're going to get smoke. And ANTIFA and your black bloc segment want to always fight.
Your black bloc
want to fucking fight. So you're sitting here telling me
ANTIFA does not want to fight.
The fuck they don't.
The fuck.
They're there.
Is that what BBC porn is? Black bloc.
Big black bloc.
True. Anyways.
Do you not understand like the difference between proactively looking for violence and reactively trying to like defend shit? Do you understand the difference between
the whole purpose of the conversation
and self-defense?
Do
you understand the difference between assault and self-defense?
That's what I've said. The proactiveness of it. I haven't seen Proud Boys going around the United States and burning shit down to make a point to tell.
No, they've just been assaulting random fucking people on the fucking street.
I've seen them show up.
And beat the shit out of people constantly.
And start beating the shit out of ANTIFA. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Of just ANTIFA, apparently.
Yep.
Do I need to link you a video of a Proud Boy?
They've never hurt an innocent person.
Kicking the shit out of him.
Source, trust me.
Rolling him over and kicking him while he's in the.
And not only that, but the Dylan Burns situation, the girl was innocent too. Like.
No, she wasn't. She could have been one of them Antifas.
Oh, true. Everyone who's got assaulted by the Proud Boys is automatically an Antifa.
One of them Anquifas!
True.
Fucking ground. He was near a Proud Boy rally.
And there's plenty of videos of ANTIFA attacking fucking.
Yeah, and most of those that I've seen have been fucking deceptively edited by Andy Ngo and fucking Ian Miles Chong, who are known fucking grifters. No, if you holy shit, do you actually like Andy Ngo? Do you think that him and Ian Miles Chong are good fucking people and good sources of information when they've been shown on almost every single fucking tweet that they do that it's deceptively edited? Do you not know about that? Or are you actually just like a dumb fuck?
No, I'm talking about the
dumb
night that I was sitting there watching woke.net for like 2 weeks, you know, on those nights where everybody was streaming. And
the premium place to go for your woke, I guess, content.
For your protest content. I can only imagine, like, he has, like, 5 monitors set up with, like, 5 different situations going at once, and he's just, like, taking notes vigorously as he's just sitting in his, like, now completely dark space for at least, like, 2 weeks on end. Knowing Miles Chong are shitheads? True.
Woke.net. Yeah, it was on Twitch unless they've already removed it. But Woke.net would be showing all the screens of all these people that were participating in Antifa and riots. And so I got to watch cities burning and people saying, hey, don't show the camera this way. Don't show the camera that way. That's the Black Bloc boys. Don't show the camera over there. Those guys, they'll say no. That shit happens. And I was watching it live.
Do you know why they were saying don't film it? Because they don't want their faces on things, because then the Proud Boys will fucking hunt them down. No, not necessarily. Because oftentimes when someone's face is fucking broadcast, they can fucking like white supremacists will fucking find them and like try and hunt them down. That's something that has happened all over, like all the time.
Please show me where all these white supremacists are. Please. Please.
I'm so sorry. Are you actually fucking sorry, not that word. Are you like completely like removed from reality? Like, did you see the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally where there were like people with fucking swastikas all over their body and running fucking swastika flags?
So where are they at? Where are those guys at? Are they in Charlottesville still? Or are they over in
They've gone underground because they got such bad press. They've gone underground because they got such bad press. They didn't fucking disband.
So why is Antifa still out here attacking people then, if they're all underground now and gone?
No, underground just means not in the public eye. They're still doing shit.
Well, how are you going to bring them out?
Patriot
How do you bring them out?
I guess have a civil rights movement.
This
where
is
they
also
like,
where you could have gotten
for their own civil rights. I guess that's
gotten like docked on a technicality right there.
What was that?
Yeah, you kind of contradicted yourself when you said like they all went underground, and then you're by also saying like they're still doing shit, which is suggesting that they're not underground.
Well, I guess what I meant by that was being underground is more being out of the public eye, whereas like you can be underground, like being like an underground movement.
Right.
You're still doing shit. Underground music is still there. It's just out of the public eye.
Right. And then my response to that would be they're still kind of in the public eye when they clash with other people or when they make their presence known. Though,
well, right, yeah.
Though I don't know like to which extent, if I'm honest. It could just be that they had less media attention on them for a little while.
Yeah.
But again, that's kind of with like most things really, and that's kind of what's happening now with BLM almost.
Bring them out, because we're seeing a lot more of them come out now, like in Kenosha, like in Washington D.C., like in fucking Portland. You see them all over the place there because black people are fighting for their fucking civil rights. Yeah, no, if you see black people trying to like become equals in our society, white supremacists are going to show up with lots of guns and $6,000 of fucking tacticals, tactical gear. All
white liberals do too, and they come in there with all their fucking problems.
Yes,
with, like,
white liberals,
fucking shields,
the college students, well known for having enough money to buy tactical gear. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you actually think that people are that rich?
Well, it's George Soros. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
He gives the Antifers all their money.
That's right, yeah. My
True.
bad.
Like, hold back white supremacists from beating the shit out of black people?
No, I told you, I'm more of the Uncle Ruckus type. I believe what Malcolm...
Uncle Ruckus type? What does that even mean?
We can
look you guys are. I mean...
Oh, I sent you a picture of Bingus by accident. Hang on.
Preaching right now is gonna fucking hurt more than helps.
Bingus.
Well, I'm glad you have that opinion. Any final memes?
No, I don't have any memes.
All right. Well,
none.
I'll catch you later, buddy. All right?
Yep.
All right. Bye. What a dumb fuck, guys.
Holy
shit. I have never met someone so fucking far removed from reality in my entire goddamn life. The fucking conservacope, like, Twitch support squad, where they all have to fucking come together and, like, on Twitter, all together, right? Sondsol lost this debate. Oh, I fucking, man, clip it and ship it. I lost this debate like a motherfucker. One second, I'm going to open a window because it's fucking hot as shit in this room. I'm so fucking tilted right now.
There you go.
Up and he's gone.
Bingus.
So overall, I know it wasn't. Oh God, the fucking little cat. It's a fucking smooth ass cat.
It's Bingus.
Bingus. Yeah, that's the end of the debate. What would you rate the debate? Like, I know that it wasn't like the ultimate it wasn't like Destiny and Vosh taking down Stryker and Allsup, but
it's entertaining.
Yeah, definitely in terms of like entertainment value, pretty good. I'd probably rate it like a 7 out of 10. You did bring up like a good amount of points, but the fact that it was just like drowned within a shouting match, kind of just made it sound like we're just firing shots at each other. I think you could have like built up your arguments a bit better through the beginning, but since it was like heated, neither of you really had a chance to do that without exploding on each other. But nonetheless, you still made like pretty decent points overall. You did have like a few things that you could probably clarify on. Of course, hindsight 2020. Not everyone can speak perfectly. I can't either.
Yeah, one thing I know I need to work on in the future is not saying like or as my
just general speaking stuff, yeah.
Yeah. It's the thing that like everyone will have some thing that they use in between thoughts if they haven't fully fleshed out what they're going to say as they're saying it. Even if they like know the gist of it, just like picking the words in your mind. Yeah, that's probably like my weakest what do you got? Like linguistic or rhetorical point.
Yeah, I think to be a very effective rhetorician, you have to flow all of your statements. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Try not to have too many of those. They're not called conjunctions, but those interconnecting words.
Right.
You know, it's okay sometimes to have but don't get too hung up on it, I guess.
Right.
Like whenever I talk, or if I ever go on like a Prime Kai panel, I try my best to be mindful of whenever I say or like all those things. But
Yeah,
it happens sometimes.
This has been fun hearing the critiques of everything. I'm going to see if I can't get one or two other people to critique it on their streams and watch back their critiques as well, because I do want to increase my ability to push back on points and to make my points look better. So
I wasn't here for the whole thing, so I probably missed quite a bit, but just towards the end.
Yeah, no, the beginning for me was just more or less like going through like the arguments that I would make and how I'd phrase it personally, combined with like a little bit of like background knowledge and all that.
I mean, shout out to Tiger for like the editing, because that's really good.
The editing was solid.
Editing right at the front at the very
yeah,
beginning.
The intro and everything, it really looked like, what you'd see from like a Destiny or Fosh highlight video. It was